securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome. Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Big AI companies like Anthropic and OpenAI are making plans to start trading publicly, a major milestone for the emerging tech. But as the space continues to grow, so do the number of skeptics worried about its safety. This week, we focus on a conversation on Bloomberg with Safiya Noble. She's a prominent black scholar who spent time focusing on AI's impact on people from underrepresented communities. Noble spoke to Bloomberg about her research on AI models and how they could reinforce stereotyping.
We have discriminatory data that is training models, but what's different now is that these models obfuscate the inequality. They appear to be factual and reliable, and if you don't know, if you don't have deep expertise, you're not going to know that the kinds of things that are being served up in these products are actually faulty.
Safiya Noble is a professor at UCLA and director of the school's Center on Resilience and Digital Justice. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
You can never have too many tools. Shop DeWalt deals at Lowe's. Get a free Select DeWalt 20-Volt Max Power Tool when you buy a Select 20-Volt Max 5-amp-hour battery kit. Plus, get a free additional DeWalt 20-Volt Max 8-amp-hour battery when you buy a DeWalt 10-inch 20-Volt Max dual-bevel compounded miter saw. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 6/24 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Doug.
There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means sitting front row at a comedy show.
Hey everyone, check out this guy and his bird. What is this, your first date?
Oh, no. We help people customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual together. We're married. Me to a human, him to a bird.
Yeah, the bird looks out of your league anyways.
Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
He steps to the mic with a boom ping ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom ping ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom ping ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, oh the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils the truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king or the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping, like a heartbeat's call. He's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Wednesday, June 17th, 2026. But it could be or might as well be May 17th or April 17th or March 17th, February 17th. It seems that the stories and the headlines that are getting the most attention that seem to be happening with a shocking consistency and frequency is a shooting. There was just a homicide this morning. I believe there was one yesterday or last night. And then all of the social media postings of fights. A big one at the Walgreens on the Brady Street area neighborhood. There was a lot of people fighting there. But these are happening with a tremendous amount of frequency. And I'll be honest with you all, these are not my favorite things to talk about because I'm taking a subsection of people and I'm looking at their behavior and I'm analyzing it. And of course, I can totally degrade these people and talk about how horrible and despicable their behavior is. And they just have no respect for themselves. I can say they have no respect for the store that they're fighting in. They're just like pulling stuff off the shelves, and it's really, really horrible, and it's quite embarrassing. But just this overall decreased understanding of how you were supposed to act and behave in public and in social settings. And then the situation a couple of days ago where a man had a warehouse full of his collectibles and his antiques, and there were a number of young people that were caught destroying that property, not even stealing it to sell it, but just destroying it for their amusement, I suppose. I really don't like talking about that stuff because it seems to just focus on those individuals and how much we hate them and, how they are the antithesis to everything that is right, righteous, and good. So I really don't like talking about that stuff, but I think that the frequency of these behaviors, and there will be more of them because we know as we progress through the summer and the weather gets warmer, more people are outside. It leads to all sorts of conflicts, and then you have the takeovers and all sorts of stuff. There's just a breakdown in structure. And it used to be family. It's not really family anymore because families they're unique, they're hybrid, everybody is individual. It just doesn't seem like there are any rules and guidelines that everybody seems to follow. I tend to favor structure. I know we don't like structures in this country because sometimes in those structures there can be racial bias and there can be disparities. But I think when we reminisce and become nostalgic about a time in which Black Milwaukee didn't really act like this, it was because there were structures and there were rules that were followed. This is how you behaved. This is how you carried yourself. This is how you dealt with conflict. Now, let me be clear. There were always fights. There's always been guns. There's always been shooting. But it wasn't every single day. They were less frequent. So maybe we blame a lack of jobs. Okay, great. Let's bring some jobs in. Well, we can't bring those jobs in because this group of people doesn't like those jobs. Okay, we want to make sure that people are earning really good wages because if you have a good wage, you can live a better life. But if you don't have a skill set because you're not getting a proper education in our public school system, then getting that wage is going to be exceptionally difficult. It just seems like there's just no structure. The church used to provide some structure, and we sometimes get nostalgic about wanting, the church has got to come back and we need to, have much more of an adherence to the Bible. I don't know if those days are ever going to return, but I am troubled that the frequency of these negative events are kind of taking over the conversations I would like to have about how do we collectively improve the city and move forward and make the city a better place for everybody. But we're just bogged down in just these really horrible and dangerous behaviors. And it does have an impact on the perception of a neighborhood. It has an impact on the perception of people and the disparities that exist. And I'm going to remind you of some of those disparities in a little while. Those don't get addressed when we are just bogged down in the behaviors of a few that tend to be the leading headlines every single day in this city. The reason why I like structures is because they provide a clear set of boundaries of what you do, how you operate, how you act. That actually used to exist. It does not anymore. And so we have like this structureless society where people just do whatever they want and they say whatever they want, consequences be damned. And it's not helping solve the problems that still are unresolved from generations past, like low levels of home ownership. Income is one thing, wealth is another. Income is what you make, wealth is what you got. We are still lacking in those categories. But when we're so bogged down in these really, really awful and disgusting and despicable and violent behaviors, I think it prevents us from addressing some of those entrenched issues. I want to throw this out there as well before we get into the nuts and bolts of the program today. So the people who we complain about, it's a multiracial coalition of people that see these behaviors and they see the fights and the shootings. And there's everybody's got a problem with it, and everybody should, because it creates more disorder in a society where disorder is not needed, because we have so many people in this country and everybody has their own thoughts, feelings, and opinions. And, people are very unique and they're very different, which is fine, which is great. But we have to have a set of guiding principles, no matter how gay you are, or how straight you are, or how black you are, or how Latino you are, or how citizen you are, or whatever. There's got to be just a set of rules that we all just understand and respect, like rules of the road. Probably a bad example because a lot of people don't really respect the rules of the road either. If you are sharing a place and spaces in society with a whole bunch of different people that you may not even like, you may disagree with them fundamentally on a bunch of things. There's just an understood way this is how you operate. And you can hate people all you want to, but when we are all together in a gathering or at a festival, at an event, there's just a way that you carry yourself. And it seems like those rules have all been thrown out the window. And for the people that we have a problem with because of their behavior and their fighting and their shooting, who represents them? That's not a rhetorical question, because there is a cohort of people that, it seems to me, they're very detached from order and from structure. And these are like the on-site generation. Oh, when they see you, it's on-site. I don't care if I see you at a Walgreens. I don't care if I see you at a high school graduation at the Destiny High School. I don't care where it is that I see you. It's on-site. The rest of the people, they don't matter. I'm going to disrupt everything because I'm going to fight you or shoot you wherever I see you. And that seems to be, I don't want to say it's a prevailing attitude, but it's far too common just based upon the things that we see in the news every single day. And I don't want to get bogged down with talking about that stuff because we're going to end up hating those people. And I know that you probably hate them already, but then hate those folks on your own, because I'm more concerned about these large prevailing issues. Income disparities, low levels of home ownership, our kids can't read. And I want to be focused on that stuff because that's the big stuff. I cannot get bogged down in these stupid behaviors of these folks. But who's representing them? Who is their voice? Because they feel detached, obviously. Because if you were attached to our society, you wouldn't act like that. You would say, hey, I want to fight that person over there, but I'm going to wait. I'll fight them at a more convenient time when, there's less people and less witnesses and less cameras. These folks don't care. But I wonder, like, where do we attach them or reattach them to society? Because let's assume they live in the city of Milwaukee. They probably have an alderperson. In fact, I know they do. They've got a county supervisor. The mayor is their executive. David Crowley is their county executive. Tony Evers is their governor. But who is actually representing that cohort of people? And I'm not talking about children, because we put together a series of ideas of how we want to address the young people by offering them opportunities and by being nice to them and by forgiving them when they go into someone's private property and destroy a lot of stuff. So the youth issues are separate. What do we do with these adults and these young adults? And some of them are in their 30s and their 40s. They're just so very detached and they're or underrepresented. This is more of a call out to the community. What do we do to bring those folks back into the fold? Because we can't write them off. Because if we write them off and pretend that they don't exist, they're going to cause more damage, more chaos, and more destruction. And so I'm a little bit perplexed. I'm at this weird crossroads where I want to talk about the major issues that have gone unresolved, especially some of the disparities, like disparities in healthcare. Like, I still want to be able to talk about that and get policy solutions for those things. But we can't when there seems to be a growing share of people who are just they're discontent and they're detached and they don't care about any kind of rules or any kind of structure. And that is no way for society to be. They probably don't vote. They're not involved in these different processes because we need those folks, and maybe this is what it is. The people who are the most detached, we need them in the fight as well because the disparities that exist, and I know that we want to rid or at least mitigate, we need all hands on deck, but too many hands are balled up in fists fighting one another, and too many fingers that should be pointing at the real ones to blame for our disparities. Too many of those fingers are wrapped around triggers. We have a poll up on the YouTube because I'm curious and all of the madness and the chaos. And I don't want to talk about the fights, you guys, because once I start talking about the fights and then Xavier's going to show the videos and then you're going to see a breast pop out and a butt cheek pop out. I don't want that to consume this program. I need to still be focused on the big issues because the big issues are only going to get bigger. And we have a less than cooperative president. I got some details on how I can draw a direct line to the further breaking down of structures of stability. Federal government used to provide a fair amount of money to the state of Wisconsin, which we would allocate to different programs that kind of help people out a little bit. It wouldn't solve their problems, but it would help them out a little bit. All that stuff is gone. A 44% reduction in HUD spending, housing, and urban development. Like, that really, really hurts. So we're not getting any help from the Washington, D.C. But what do we do to bring these people back into the fold, and how do we represent them, and who represents them? Like, who is their leader? Is there a fight club in Milwaukee that I just don't know about where a bunch of Negroes meet in some seedy, dark, dank basement and they decide which department store they're going to fight in because there's a whole agenda to close everything down? I don't know. But we're going to figure it out. We appreciate you listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, exclusively on 101.7 FM. Make sure you go to our YouTube and vote in this poll. I'm asking you just a few questions to see where your priorities are. And I'm assuming the people that are listening to this program, you're not fighters. Some of you can fight. I've met some of you. Some of you are very tough people and you can fight, but most of you probably can't. Most of you would rather just talk it out. But I'm asking you, what's most important to you? Healthcare, cost of living, crime, jobs, and the economy. And from your responses, we're going to figure out a direction of what we can pursue, especially because we've got some elections coming up. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Milwaukee is making real progress. 3 straight years of declining traffic deaths, but we're not stopping there. Join the City of Milwaukee's free Vision Zero Summit with AAA and AARP on June 10th. The summit will bring together community members, transportation advocates, and city leaders to advance the goal of zero traffic deaths in Milwaukee. Be part of the movement for safer streets and a safer future. Join us and learn more at
milwaukee.gov/Vision Zero.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Think of my dreams will come back when I do my thing like king, like hula. I've been envisioning an AM. All of my dreams.
The discord and the disagreements and the fight. This is not unique to Milwaukee. The stuff is happening all over the country, including the quote-unquote takeovers. They're everywhere. In fact, in some cities, they are much bigger and they are much more violent and destructive, but there's just something that is happening. I'd like to trace some of the disorder to the disarray that is happening all the way at the top, because if the top is disorganized, and maybe you may not agree with me on everything, especially politically, but if you compare this current administration and how it operates and how it lies and how it tries to reinvent everything, including history and including fact, like we lost the war in Iran and we're going to end up giving that country even more money than Obama did, but Donald Trump hated the Obama deal, but we're actually giving them more money, which has made Israel even more mad because now Iran is going to have even more money to attack Israel. It's a whole mess. You have to agree that there's a level of disorder there, and some people, it's real simple for some folks. If they see chaos and disorder in the places and the spaces where there's supposed to be the most order, I remember a time when the federal government was really boring. It was just boring. The most exciting thing that happened, at least in my formative years when I was really starting to pay attention to politics, I've always kind of had an interest in it. But when Bill Clinton got serviced by Monica Lewinsky in the White House, I was like, wow, this is interesting and exciting, kind of tabloidy. But for the most part, the federal government was big, cumbersome. It was very slow, but it didn't make a headline every single day. The Trump administration goes viral for something insane every single day. And so if some people see the chaos and disorder at the very top, then there isn't really any need for them to pursue strict structure, because you can easily say, oh, Donald Trump does and says whatever he wants. And that's kind of permeating through society. Something else that I'm noticing, and I have to provide evidence of this, otherwise people won't believe me, because we're all just kind of moving day to day. It's really hard to plan long term when you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, this afternoon. Donald Trump may decide he wants to run for a 10th term. You never know. So it's hard to do some long-term planning and strategy in these days and times. In fact, it's damn near impossible. One of the noticeable impacts is there's less focus and attention to issues that impact the African-American community. And it's not just here. It's not just what I'm not hearing from our gubernatorial candidates. They're just not mentioning black issues at all. And as recently as 2024, it behooved Kamala Harris to not just have a position on issues that impact the African-American community. She came out with a 15-page, like a manifesto on how she was going to help improve and invest in the lives of African-American men. None of the Democrats that are running in this very battleground state are mentioning anything of the sort, let alone a referendum that's going to appear on our November ballot that is going to make diversity, equity, and inclusion not just illegal, but unconstitutional. There was a period of time fairly recently where Democrats would be yelling and screaming. Now they're taking like a different approach. They're not defending affirmative action and DEI. They're not defending their most loyal constituency group. Democrats are trying to go on offense in other places, like saying, oh, wow, black people are screwed. That's too bad. But, inflation is very, very high, and Donald Trump is responsible for the inflation. I don't know if I can necessarily get on board with that, because I'm seeing Trumpism in the Trump era, which is not dead. It's still very strong. It still can advance some candidates in Republican primaries to a general election. It still is worth something to certain people in certain parts of the country. His approval rating is still around 40%, which is baffling to me. It's baffling that 4 out of 10 people look at him and read the stuff he says, and they read his Truth Social posts, and they're like, yep, that's my guy. Sometimes I wonder, what planet are we on? That's number one. Number two, did we all die during COVID? And this is just like, so we're all dead, but we've been brought back in purgatory to just live through this, because none of this stuff is easily explainable. And I'm also wondering how history is going to look at this era. And you think that we put a lot of heat on the boomers, like, oh, the boomers, you ruined the world, because we got to blame somebody for how screwed up the world is. Us right now, future generations are going to hate us more than we hate the boomers. How did you guys let Trump get elected twice? Well, there was a black lady running, but she wasn't really black. She had some Jamaican in her. well, he was going to do some deals. Yeah, but he didn't do any deals, and he put you guys in a war, even though he said he wasn't going to put you guys in a war, and his approval rating still remained at 40%. And then we're going to be like, well, true about that. Well, we didn't like it. We have no excuse for how he is reshaping democracy, and he's reshaping democracy in a way that the Democrats don't even feel comfortable talking about issues that impact their most loyal constituency. And I'm afraid that with the growing number of people that are they're detached and they're unrepresented and they have no structure and their kids have no structure, do you honestly think that those people are going to vote in an August primary? Absolutely not. But we need all hands on deck. I don't even know what you say to them. They're so detached from just plain old common sense and decency. If you want to fight somebody in a Walgreens, if I'm going to fight somebody, I would rather fight somebody in a classier establishment. Maybe I'll fight you in Nordstrom's. Near the men's shoe section. So, a little more classy. If I'm going to kick some assy, it's got to be a little more classy. Look, I don't know. So one of the answers, it seems, in a response to, follow me now, the disorder at the top, which I think gives people an excuse to just live however they want to live and do whatever they want to do, not follow any kind of rules, not respect any kind of structure, any kind of boundaries in society. It seems like democratic socialism is an answer, and I'm a little nervous about that because they don't see the intersectionality of race and a lot of the things that they support. I mean, it's traditional liberal stuff. It's women's rights and abortion rights, and it's voting rights, and it's supporting the working class and the middle class and working class families, and it's healthcare, and it's all that stuff. But when they don't look at the intersectionality of race, because what a democratic socialist will do, and I'm not misquoting them when I say this, they'll say, well, the economic inequality is worse for black people, but we're just going to focus on the overall economic inequality. Okay, fair enough, but you are still not going to address the specifics and the nuances that impact black people. Because within the structures of the democratic socialists, you have people, of course, they're focused on economic inequality, but black folks just better get on board. And so there was an election last night in several places around the country, and these are all precursors to the midterms. It looks like Washington, D.C. is going to elect a democratic socialist mayor. So the response to Trump and Trumpism, there are many, but the overall and overwhelming political response is to go as far left as you can to distance yourself from what I would call some very right-wing extremism that is in control and at the helm of this country right now, where there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of disarray, there's a lot of disorder, and some of that is being mimicked, and we can see that at the community level with all of the fights and the arguing and all of the shooting. I can attribute that disorder to what is happening at the very, very highest levels, but it seems like the political response from the left is to go as far left as you possibly can, at the same time losing your focus on the issues that are important to African Americans. And I'm worried about that because the unrepresented people, the detached people, the unstructured people that will fight you in a Walgreens, they'll fight you in a CVS, they'll fight you wherever prescriptions are filled, it seems. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. They're being left behind, and they're not going to disappear. And I don't know if this new political ethos that's coming in, the democratic socialists, and if you want to see some, come to Midtown tomorrow. There's a conversation about the development at Midtown starting at 5:30, going until 7 o'clock. And there's a number of people that are, let's say, displeased with the proposed development. And there's a number of democratic socialists and their organization, the PSL, the Party for Socialism and Liberation. They have been organizing in that neighborhood, and they're really going to drum up a whole bunch of people. And I want folks to come out just to witness that, because those people and their political agenda feels as if it can insert and assert itself into the black community with no respect for the nuanced issues that black people deal with every single day. They'll come in and tell you, don't build a data center. And some people will be like, okay, cool. because anything associated with a data center is bad, and we hate them, even though we use a lot of data. I wish some of y'all use more data. But then what are you offering? What are you providing as an alternative? Nothing. We can't live in a city where you have a group of people who are becoming much more popular politically and even electorally that will tell you every single thing that they are against. They'll tell you everything that they hate, but they will not tell you how they are going to build and how they are going to create. They're not offering any alternative. I'd have much more respect for outsiders and people that live elsewhere, because we don't like the carpetbagger. We don't like somebody that comes from somewhere else, from a whole different viewpoint, a whole different vantage point, and they come into our community and they think that they know better than us. That's that, what do they call it, the hero complex, the savior, white savior. I don't like that, because white people can't even save themselves, as evident by their support for Donald Trump. But if they're not offering an alternative, like I could see if the PSL said, hey, everybody, we brought renderings of what Midtown could actually be. They're not doing that. They're just telling us what we shouldn't support. And there's also not a lot of respect for black people, because we're just seen as just pathetic, I think, by many, including those that are affiliated with our party. On my program last night, Hughes Views 414, I put up Francesca Hong's campaign platform. And it's, it's opposing AI data centers, and it's working class stuff and family stuff and supporting workers' rights and women's rights. But she mentioned this unequivocal protection for queer rights, no questions asked, protecting the rights of queer folk, which, fine, but literally no mention of black people. That makes me a little nervous, because there is a cohort of African Americans that, if involved and engaged, and if there's a way that we can feel included and they can feel included, we might mitigate some of the fights and all of the shootings. But if you have the leading candidate in Wisconsin that will prioritize and state on her campaign platform that queer rights are named, but nothing that impacts the black community, especially black people and black voters, is mentioned, I think the Democratic Party in its shift leftward is becoming post-racial. Some time ago, people were nervous about how demographics were shifting, and we see how the white folks are nervous about demographics shifting, because their populations are dwindling. And right now, in the United States of America, for people that are under the age of 18, the majority of them are not white. So as time goes on, assuming that people have children, the majority of the people in this country that are under 18 that are children, once they get to what we call reproductive age, even though millions of them are at reproductive age now, the kids they will have will also be non-white. And we're seeing how this current administration and this incarnation of the Republican Party is dealing with that demographic terror. Well, black folks were dealing with demographic terror too, because we saw Latinos and Hispanics increase in number and population as well. Black folks have been like 13 to 14% of the population for like 30 years. We're not exactly moving up, but Latinos and Asians are also increasing their population. You can just follow this stuff just with the census that some of you don't take. And there was this fear probably 20 years ago, maybe more, that black people would be permanent second-class citizens, because if other groups and other ethnicities were increasing population and were gaining political power and political strength, black people would be left in the dust. I think that we are actually seeing that theory come true, because there is no prioritization of the issues of African Americans. For generations, the whole Democratic Party was civil rights. It was voting rights. Every campaign, every candidate, now it's kind of been replaced by the queer rights. And I'm not making a judgment call either way, but I don't know if the proper response to adequately represent people, including the people that have fallen through the cracks, that do a lot of fighting and do a lot of shooting, I don't know if having a post-racial sentiment in your policy is the right answer, because we need those people to be involved and to be engaged. And maybe it's our fault. Maybe we need to go and register those voters. That's something else that's missing. There's a period of time, probably in the 2010s, every event, every community event, every town hall event, there was a nonprofit there registering voters. We don't even see that anymore, especially in our community. Oh, hey, come on out to the nonprofit, or come on out to this back to school fair. Come on out to this block party. The Democrats would be there. the Milwaukee Election Commission would be there, and they would be registering voters. They're not even doing that anymore. So I do fear that we are becoming not just post-racial, but black people are being solidified as second-class citizens. I'm going to take a break, come back, give you some more details about things you should know. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, exclusively on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
The performing arts do more than entertain. They bring the community together, from live performances and arts education to free community events. UPAF helps support the organizations that keep southeastern Wisconsin vibrant. But it only happens because of people like you. Every gift helps keep the arts accessible and inspiring for the entire community. Join thousands of supporters and give today at upaf.org. UPAF, one gift, regional impact.
At UW-Milwaukee, students don't have to wait until college to start building their future. Roar Ready lets students K through 12th grade join in hands-on programs across campus. From science and tech to arts, sports, and more, students try new things, meet new people, and build skills that matter. Programs are led by UW-Milwaukee faculty, staff, and current students. And it's easy to register online. Get started today at uwm.edu/roarready. UW-Milwaukee, Roar Ready. Your child's future starts here.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes, rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age, everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Milwaukee Black Talk lives here on 101.7 FM and 1510 AM. W269DL Milwaukee, a Milwaukee Black media company.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
From Newsweek, Janice Lewis George. You're going to start hearing that name a little bit more often, ladies and gentlemen, because it appears that she is going to be the next mayor of Washington, D.C. So a couple of things. She's a black African-American lady, which should shock nobody because D.C. is one of the blackest cities in the country. She's also a Democratic socialist. Janice Lewis George held a commanding lead early Wednesday in Washington, D.C.'s Democratic mayoral primary, putting the self-described Democratic socialist on track to become the city's next mayor if her advantage holds. So not that D.C. is attributable to politics all over the nation, but there's a common theme. In a response to Donald Trump and whatever the hell his policies are, I think his policies are chaos. The response by the Democrats is in certain places to move even further to the left. And it's not that I'm opposed to that, but where are the core constituencies of the Democratic Party in this shift to the left? Are you bringing the issues of African Americans along with you? Now, somebody said, I think Al said in the YouTube chat, and I'm glad that she said this, Al. He says, that's just it, Sherwin. If the politicians focus on the black populations, everybody's going to look at it as being anti-white. But we can focus on white issues, which can be anti-black, and that'll actually get people elected. We can't be afraid as African Americans that do need representation because, I mean, we're citizens. We vote. We pay taxes. We have a stake in America doing better and improving in every measurable aspect. Our situation as a racial group is specific because you still can target and marginalize and reduce the opportunity for black people, especially if you take away programs that people largely agreed on. Like affirmative action was something that the country thought was politically and socially necessary. And it existed for 60 years until Donald Trump basically said, enough. Imagine undoing an executive order from 1961 just because. A lot of the things that have marginally and incrementally improved the lives for black people, just making things a little bit more fair, providing a little more opportunity, giving us some chances where in previous incarnations of history we had no chances. A lot of that stuff was executive orders signed by presidents, and in the modern era they have been Democratic presidents because it's really hard to get Congress to agree on a law that can impact black people. Even though we have slavery and we had Jim Crow and all of the things that are associated with it, it's still really hard to get Congress to agree. Now, there were some really gigantic issues that Congress did agree on, Voting Rights Acts and Civil Rights Acts and Fair Housing Acts. But in order to get those things passed, you needed George Floyd levels of protests all over the country for decades to get Congress to agree on those very important pieces of policy. But most of the stuff was just executive orders that the president signed. I'll give you one example of how an executive order can really have a positive impact and change the trajectory of history. Also, keep in mind, Donald Trump signed something like 200 executive orders in his first couple of months in office, which is more than anybody. He signed more executive orders in his first couple of months in office than some presidents have signed in 2 full terms, because there was a lot of minutia and buried, details in some of those executive orders that Trump just wanted to get rid of completely. Anything relating to affirmative action or DEI or civil rights, and gutting out the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice. I think that they don't even look at race when you file EEOC claims. Dude is doing a real serious number on us. But just an example, especially with the Juneteenth Day coming up. Yes, America's Independence Day, where a lot of black people still have to work. Yes, Juneteenth. The Emancipation Proclamation wasn't even a law. It wasn't a constitutional amendment. It wasn't. Abraham Lincoln was like, yeah, okay. An executive order is the same process as how you name a post office. The president will be like, yeah, I want to name this post office the Ulysses S. Grant Post Office in Oshkonina, Wisconsin. An executive order is what the Emancipation Proclamation is, but that gives you an example of how impactful an executive order can be on changing the course of history. And Lincoln didn't free the slaves because slavery was bad. He freed the slaves with an executive order. He wasn't getting that through Congress. No way. He freed the slaves because the South was very naughty for trying to start their own country, and Abraham Lincoln didn't like that. He was quoted as saying, if he could keep slavery and keep the country together, then he would have kept slavery. He didn't like the country being 2 countries. How embarrassing is that? It's like if you run a large corporation and half of your employees are like, we're going to start another company because you suck as a CEO. Lincoln was like, oh, that hurts my feelings. So the freedom of the slaves was punishment to the South. And the South wasn't happy. So they killed Abraham Lincoln. But then they said, okay, fine. We'll free the slaves. But we're not going to be nice to black people for a really, 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 really long time. Like, we're going to be really mean to them. If they must be free, then fine. But, man, are we going to just be awful to them? Like, for a long time, we're not going to let them use the bathroom. We're not going to let them eat at a lunch counter. Were lunch counters that fantastic? I'm very curious. Now, I get it. They were segregated and black people wanted to integrate public accommodations. But, man, did they take some abuse sitting at a Woolworth's lunch counter. And they go into maybe about 30 black people. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the NAACP, and the NAACP Youth Council and the Southern Christian Leadership Council. They would all, we're going to go to the lunch counter and sit down. Hi, I would like to order, I don't even know what they ate, but I would like an Eggs Benedict and a chocolate malt. And then a bunch of white people would come in and just beat them up. You can't order an Eggs Benedict here, nigger. These are not for you. Oh, we want an Eggs Benedict. And they would just get beat up at a lunch counter. And hold on now, but as a response to that, I just want to give you guys some perspective here because we have a response to Trumpism, and it seems like it's democratic socialism. I'm not satisfied with it because it does not highlight and prioritize the issues of African Americans who are the most loyal constituency to Democrats, but we may not necessarily be the most loyal constituency to democratic socialists. That remains to be seen because it looks like they are prioritizing the LGBTQIA plus and the queer people over black people, which, okay, if that's what they want to do, cool, but that don't convince me to vote for you. But as a response to the passive, nonviolent civil rights movement, because Dr. King was like, oh, no, don't hit them back. Hit them with love. And we got beat up a lot. But I get it, because if the black people were fighting the white people back at the Woolworths lunch counter, let's say we threw the Eggs Benedict in the white people's faces at the lunch counter, then it would look like black people were starting the food fight and we wouldn't have gotten national support for our movement because black people could not defend themselves because we had to make white supremacy look violent. And it did. It did the job. It made it look violent because the dogs and the fire hoses and those images broadcast into people's living rooms every single night on the nightly news. A lot of folks around the country were like, oh, wow, white people are really mean to the blacks in the South. And a lot of northern senators and members of Congress voted to break down Jim Crow and supported the Fair Housing and Voting Rights Act, et cetera. But what they didn't expect is a bunch of black people to move up north to live in the states where those members of Congress and, you know, the House of Representatives and U.S. Senate voted for civil rights legislation because we got up north and we got treated with racism as well. But a response to show you how this pendulum swings to the nonviolent, passive actions of Dr. King, then the Panthers came. The Panthers like, yeah, any means necessary. Yeah, we got guns and berets. And they looked really cool, didn't they? There's some revisionist history when it comes to the Panthers, too, because we only think about, you know, any means necessary and the leather jackets and the berets and Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. I interviewed Bobby Seale, long-form interview many, many years ago. He was the chairman of the Black Panther Party. Fascinating. Probably the most fascinating person I've ever talked to in my entire life, let alone had the privilege to interview. But he was a mean old man. He was, like, I could see why he was a Panther. He was just, I have that interview in my archives, and I listened to it, like, in the last 6 months. He was just like a jerk to me. He was very angry because he thought that, like, black people in black colleges and universities should have supported him more financially because he's not dead. He's really old. And he basically is like, Sherwin, I'm not rich, and black people should have made me rich because I did a lot for you people. He's like, buy my book. We were going to bring him here on a speaking circuit to come to UWM and Marquette. The amount of money he wanted to come was more than we could potentially raise, so we didn't end up bringing him here. But see how the pendulum swung from the passive actions of nonviolence and love with Dr. King's civil rights movement to the Panthers saying, no, let's get a bunch of guns and then storm state capitals in California. And it seems like the response and the swinging pendulum now as a response to Trump is swinging in the direction of democratic socialism. It's usually from one extreme to another. Dr. Martin Luther King's exhibitions of love and love your enemy and don't fight back. And then you got the Panthers, yeah, shoot him in the face. But the Panthers didn't really shoot anybody in the face. They got shot in the face, actually. So that was an example of how this pendulum swings. Just like the criminal justice pendulum swings. Sometimes we're really soft on crime. Like, no, don't lock him up. Give him rehab. No, don't. And then sometimes it's 3 strikes and you're out and it's no cash bail and it's truth in sentencing. So these pendulums are swinging. I just don't like where black people are falling in the matrix of the swinging pendulum. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
The performing arts do more than entertain. They bring the community together, from live performances and arts education to free community events. UPAF helps support the organizations that keep southeastern Wisconsin vibrant. But it only happens because of people like you. Every gift helps keep the arts accessible and inspiring for the entire community. Join thousands of supporters and give today at upaf.org. UPAF, one gift, regional impact.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Reading aloud to children sharpens their listening skills, expands their vocabularies, and nurtures a lifelong love of reading. That's why Reading is Fundamental, the nation's leading children's literacy nonprofit, offers free monthly read-alouds by popular authors through its Rally to Read program. Visit rallytoread.org to watch the read-alouds and discover exciting reading activities for school and home. Visit rallytoread.org today.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age, everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Janice Lewis George held a commanding early lead this morning in Washington, D.C.'s Democratic mayoral primary, putting the self-described Democratic Socialist on track to become the city's next mayor. If her advantage holds, with 64% of the ballots counted in that D.C. mayor's race, George had 52.8% of the votes, ahead of Kenyon McDuffie, who had 36.6% of the vote. Because Washington, D.C. is overwhelmingly Democratic, the winner of the Democratic primary is strongly favored in November. A Louis George win would be a major victory for the political left, which has grown its power over the last 10 years. She looks poised to join New York City's Mayor Zoran Mamdani and a new wave of Democratic Socialists of America, or DSA, members and endorsees to serve as mayors in major American cities. Louis George becoming D.C. mayor would bring Democratic socialism to President Donald Trump's backyard. And I think that is what they are trying to do, because Democratic socialism seems to be, at least in the short term, an answer and a response and the swinging pendulum way to the left to combat Donald Trump's policies. Again, I'm not entirely opposed to that, but I just don't know where the disparities that exist within the African-American community, where that falls on the platform of Democratic socialism, because they, like more moderate and centrist Democrats, are not mentioning the issues that are impacting African-Americans. And here's the reason why I find it so important. Number one, I'm black. Number two, there's no other constituency that is more loyal to a political party. White people are split. Latinos are split. Women are split. White women are extremely split. We, as a racial group, 90%, give or take, it may fluctuate a little bit, but not much, of black people that do vote for Democrats. And you would think that the Democratic Party would want to be very vocal and outspoken on the issues that they put in their platform to address the needs of their most loyal constituency. They're not really doing that anymore because it feels like they're becoming post-racial. And I guess it makes sense because, you don't want to scare white people. But here's the thing. White people have always known, because white people have made up the majority of Democrats anyway. They've known that there's always been a solid civil rights, voting rights, equal rights, anti-disparity platform in the Democratic Party. It's just always been there. But now all of a sudden, maybe it's too troublesome, or maybe it's too burdensome to include African-American issues. And that's bothersome for a number of reasons, because I think we need more representation. If I bring it back home here locally, there's so much disorder and disarray. Now, there's disorder and disarray in other communities too, but that's not my problem. Like, I can't credibly go into a white rural community and organize farmers. I'm not credible. Like, they're suffering too, but I can't be worried about them, because also I don't want white rural farmers coming into Milwaukee and saying, boy, oh boy, you blacks sure need a whole bunch of help. I respect the farmers in the rural areas that are suffering because they're being hammered by tariffs and a bad economy. I respect them enough to be able to organize around their issues in which they are uniquely attuned, just like I would want them to have a level of respect for the issues that are impacting African Americans. But it seems that politically, the left, in its swing to Democratic socialism, electing a Democratic socialist mayor in D.C., first of all, New York was a bit of a shocker, but the affordability thing is resonating with a lot of folks, and that's why we asked you the poll question that we did via the YouTube. If you haven't done so already, go to 1017 The Truth on YouTube, hit subscribe. You'll be able to view the live in-studio camera, participate in the YouTube chat, and also vote in the poll. It appears to be fairly evenly split, I guess. The question we're asking you today via YouTube is, what issue is most important to you? Healthcare, cost of living, crime, jobs/the economy. Crime is the lowest level at 11%. Cost of living is 38%, which tracks because the Democratic Socialists are saying, the cost of living is what we stand for. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 2.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Denied VA benefits or Social Security disability? Hurt on the job or an auto accident? Tayback Law fights for people who deserve better. Veterans benefits, Social Security, personal injury, and workers' comp. They don't stop fighting until you get what you're owed. And you don't pay unless they win. Get Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com. That's TABAK attorneys.com.
At Milwaukee College Prep, we believe brilliance lives in every child. Here, students are challenged, supported, and celebrated every single day. With small class sizes, dedicated teachers, and a proven track record of academic excellence, MCP is helping Milwaukee kids reach their fullest potential. Enrollment is still open for grades K-3 through 8. Spaces are limited. Apply today. Give your child a school where they'll thrive. Visit mkeprep.com or call today. Milwaukee College Prep, brilliance lives here.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Doctors Without Borders is delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most in communities around the world. From bandaging war-wounded patients in Sudan to providing clean drinking water in Haiti, we're in more than 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care. This life-saving care is made possible by a global movement of supporters like you. Thank you.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Make me lose my breath, make me water, make me sweat, make me harder, make me lose my breath, make me water. Normally.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Just trying to figure out where a large constituency for the Democrats is going to fit in this new pendulum swing to the left. Now, look here now. I haven't written off the communists yet. You know, if they can speak our language and say that there's going to be a commitment to African-American issues and civil rights issues and issues of justice and injustice, especially in the era and days of Donald Trump, if there's a commitment to that, then I'll rock with them or I'll at least listen to them. But if they want to usurp these bedrock issues that are central and core to the Democratic Party in favor of queer rights, well, that isn't nice. Let's talk to Key. You're on 1017 The Truth. How are you, Key?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. What's on your mind?
I was wondering, you mentioned us being loyal to the Democratic Party, and as you know, I'm the vice chair of the Milwaukee County Dems, but I continue to hear, mostly from white people, oh, how come folks didn't come out, black people didn't come out for the Harris election, and I want to say that's not true. Maybe it was like less than usual, but we definitely came out, particularly here in Milwaukee. I wondered if you could touch on that if you could.
I typically don't entertain that because black people in the overall vote share were small. The reason why Donald Trump won is because women, white women specifically, who lost their reproductive rights and their body autonomy, voted in a majority number for Donald Trump. Had white women voted in a percent more for Kamala Harris, then Kamala Harris would be president. But for them to blame us is them refusing to take responsibility for themselves. So I don't entertain it, and I'm not going to provide them with information on, oh, look, white people, us blacks did do what we were supposed to do. Yeah, we voted for Kamala. They don't want to address the fact, because when you bring it up to them, they change the subject. Yeah. White women have voted Republican in every election in the last 70 years except for two. 1992 and 1964 are the only elections in modern history where white women have actually voted for Democrats. They are the problem. They're another problem because they coax and convince black women that there's all this sisterhood and sister power and feminism and down with the patriarchy. And then they go right back home to their suburban husbands and vote for Republicans as instructed. So whenever they say that we didn't vote in high enough numbers, they're the reason why Trump is president. So go ahead and feed them that and see how they digest it.
Cool. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. I'm not entertaining them. They're the reason they're responsible for it, because the whiteness of the white woman and voting for it and voting to kick migrants out, voting to end DEI and affirmative action. If you just look at those policies objectively, Not about what's right and wrong, not about what's moral, not about what's, because DEI policies are kind of a form of reparations. All right, blacks, you've been cheated a lot. You've been denied opportunities simply because of the color of your skin, even though you did what you were supposed to do. You followed the rules. You got an education. There are some cases in which a black person is denied, even if they have the education and the experience. They are denied the opportunity based on race. Now, it's a little bit harder to prove, but it does still exist. And so having DEI conscious policies, not just give the black person the job or the college admissions, just look a little more critically. And I also think it should be the right and obligation of a publicly funded space like a college or university to want to have diversity that is reflective of the city and the town that it's in. I promise you this. The University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee is not 40% black, but the city that it's in is. And so if they want to take a look at some things, maybe a little more critically and say, you know, black children in Milwaukee who are relegated to underfunded and low-performing public schools, let's look at the overall performance and improvement scholastically of that child, and let's bring them here to UW Milwaukee. I'm a perfect example. I graduated from high school with a 1.4 grade point average. I'm still shocked. I shouldn't have graduated, actually, because there was an algebra test where I needed to get like 100% on it. I got like a 68. I was like, oh, snap, I'm not going to graduate. And my teacher was like, nah, I ain't going to do that to you. I'm going to give you your little A so you can walk across the stage. Got my first 3.0 as an undergrad in college. Ain't that wild?
That's insane.
It is. But I also was really bored and wasn't challenged. I also wasn't tracked. They tracked kids back in the day, and all the kids that got tracked all went to like Ivy League schools. I was smarter than all them white kids. But because I was black, go sit in the back, nigger.
1.4 is diabolical.
A failure. Hell yeah. But I also got graded really unfairly. I remember I had a food service class. Joan Osborne was my teacher. I honestly hope she's dead. I really do. I hope she's deceased. Or if she's not deceased, I hope she's listening. She just didn't like me. And I know why she didn't like me, because I was black. And I probably took a little too much attention away from her, because the food service class was not one you took very seriously. But it was a lot of fun. All my homies were in there. So she didn't like me. And she repeatedly gave me I got a D in food service. I'm like, come on, Miss Osborne. She's like, Sherwin, I tell you what. Because we had a kitchen. And we would actually, for our class, we would, cook meals and have to follow recipes. It was actually a lot of fun. She said, Sherwin, if you come in over the summer, I was a junior, you come in over the summer and clean up the kitchen, right? I'll give you an A. I'll raise your D to an A. I was like, bet those. So I did, and I came and cleaned the kitchen and emptied out the grease traps, and it was all disgusting. Do you know that heifer still gave me a D? So I had to deal with stuff like that. But yeah, I barely graduated from high school, but then went on to be honored on the Hall of Fame in that very same high school that I almost didn't graduate from. So if a college or a university can overlook, and they did overlook my high school transcripts to an extent. I did take a couple of classes at MATC, and once I realized if I could pick my subject matter at a much higher level academically, I would do really, really well. But just high school, scholastically, high school wasn't it for me. Neither was middle school. It was more social for me. I just didn't do well because the lessons were just stupid. You know what I mean? I thought, this is dumb. And it just didn't, the structure of my curriculum back then didn't work for me, and it was reflected in my grades. And also probably my behavior, because if you're bored, I was bored as hell. I'm like, you're not even teaching me fun stuff. But if a college or a university wants to say, you know what, there are people like Sherwin all the time where black children are in a curriculum that is so just drowning in white supremacy and to some extent even white nationalism that some black children may not respond positively with high grades in that system. Let's still give them a shot here at the university system so that we can better diversify. All that stuff has been made illegal. All of it. In fact, federal funding will be cut to universities that do exactly what allowed me to be where I am today. And if we have a shifting political pendulum that doesn't look at the nuance of what I just said, then expect more fights, more arguments, more shootings, and more black people that are further and further detached from order and decency in the society that we want. And that's what I'm concerned about, because some of those headlines that we see in the fight videos, why everybody's titties always popping out in a fight video? Ladies, come on. You can't secure those things? I mean, some I understand. Can I say titty, by the way? I didn't even ask if I.
Yes, you can.
All right. Because them titties be tittying. And sometimes I'll be pausing the video just to make sure that's what I'm looking at. Like, wait a minute, what's going on there? Be wearing skirts and stuff. There used to be a time where women didn't want to show their panties in public. Oh, now I got the list of Wisconsin counties that spend the most money on OnlyFans. I could do a whole show on that. I could
we bring in some OnlyFans models.
I'm not opposed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, do you know some that would be willing to? Well, they would be able to promote their OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I wonder how that would be viewed or looked at by my listening audience, because I think some people come here and they listen for like astute political conversation to help demystify the world. If I brought in a bunch of OnlyFans thoughts, I wonder how people would respond to that.
I don't know. I think they might like it. Should I ask?
Yeah, if you know some. Absolutely.
Oh, I do know somebody.
But they got to be
No, they're
attractive.
Yeah.
Because if you're only, no, not all of them is attractive. Some of them just sell feet pictures, and the rest of them is booger wolfy.
Oh, yeah, and I know some attract. Who do you think? Jesus. Who do you think you're talking to here?
Okay. I'm going to take you at your word, because I
All right.
will judge you.
I'm going to ask some
by
people.
what you deliver.
Okay.
In fact, no. Let me see some pictures. You got some pictures of them? Of course you do.
Yes.
Text me a picture of your top prospect.
Okay.
The top one in your stable.
Okay.
No, I'm serious.
I'm about to.
Okay. Is she naked?
No, it'll be clothes on.
Okay. Do you also have, not that I need to, do you have a picture of her naked?
Possibly.
Okay. I'm just curious as to having only, maybe we should do a YouTube poll and ask people. I know what the men are going to say. The women will probably get all jealous. Women hate each other. Man, what is it, ladies? You guys just, holy smokes. The way I heard Bailey talk about the women that fought, and rightfully so. It's like a big herd of elephants. Do we have an elephant? That's not being nice, but come on. Their behavior was elephantish. Elephantish? Elephanty.
Elephantic?
So embarrassing. And they know there's cameras everywhere. Like, what are those fights even over? But at some point, I still got to be concerned about those people, because I want them to feel included in the system, and I want them to feel represented. Because if you feel included, let me clear up everything I just said, because I just said some foul stuff. I got to be better. It's 2026. Do better. If they feel like they're a part of a system where they are included and they feel like their voices are important and the issues that they face are worthy of solving, then they might be a little less likely to do despicable things in public. And it's a waste of police resources, because now the cops got to go and break up this brawl when we need them to go and investigate a shooting and a homicide. You know, it's just such a waste. But I want those folks who we fundamentally disagree with, I see it as an opportunity. I just don't know how we break in to those folks, because I have tried on a number of occasions to get folks who are really detached. They don't vote ever. They don't even find out who their representatives are. I try and engage them, and it flies right over their head, because they're more concerned about right now. My rent is due right now. I need money right now. I got all this stuff going on right now. And I totally understand that. But you also have to look a little bit past right now like, what can I do to improve my future or to create a better future? There's also not a lot of empathy for just overall community. They're so concerned about themselves in that moment that it's hard to get them to see outside of themselves. You know, the renter, I want the renter to act like a homeowner, even though you don't own the place in which you live. Have a little bit of pride. You know, pick up garbage. It's where you live. You should want it to look a little more presentable. But I also think in neighborhoods where there's the most trash, you know, the ones that call Tory Low first, I think how that neighborhood looks on the outside is representative of how some people feel on the inside. And when you look around, don't you want what you see when you look around to be reflective of how you feel? Like if you feel good and if you feel productive, you want your whole environment to look good and also be productive. You may have a priority of sophistication and class because that's what you want, right? You're a sophisticated and classy person. At least some of you are. Some of you are bigger thoughts than Xavier is. But some of you are very classy and sophisticated. And you want your environment to be reflective of that. But it's hard to get folks who are just detuned and detached to also want to live in an environment that is reflective of positivity and productivity. Where shall we begin? If you strip away politics, ideology, and emotion, Milwaukee's racial disparities can be understood as a series of measurable gaps that have persisted across generations. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I am hoping that this new pendulum swing to the left, which is electing Democratic Socialists in New York and in Washington, D.C., and potentially to the governor's office in Wisconsin, to not forget about the persistent issues that are impacting a very solid and loyal constituency base of the Democratic Party. And I want there to be more attention and more investment because the Democratic Socialism platform, it's actually kind of new to us because we weren't really talking about it before Bernie. We weren't. No, it was there. It existed because it had different, incarnations of it. You had the Green Party and you had the Democratic Socialists. They've been around for a while, but they just didn't get a lot of attention. They didn't start getting a lot of attention until Donald Trump went full MAGA right-wing reactionary. Then something that is as opposite and as far from Trumpism became a little bit more realistic, where Democratic Socialists for a long period of time were just too liberal. In fact, they used to be called progressive. Now progressives have gone even further left of progressive. But I had issues with the progressives too, because one of their tenets, at least in Wisconsin, was they wanted to eliminate the school choice program. Even though we've explained it to them for 30 years, they still want to eliminate it. And then I finally found out why. You guys know that white women used to go look it up. There's old Journal Sentinel articles and pictures. The white women, the parents, the moms didn't want black children to go and attend Bayview High School in 1985. And Bayview is a liberal part of town. But they never wanted school integration like that. Folks got to be focused on that. Integrating schools has never been the favorite of the whites, ever. Never, never, never. They've never been in favor of it. They're not in favor of it now. So if the parental choice program, or quote unquote the voucher, is the next generation's incarnation of school integration, it doesn't matter if you're a liberal or a progressive, a Democrat or whatever, they're against school integration because on its face, if you're paying tuition out of your pocket, 10 grand, 20 grand a year, 10, 20 grand a semester to send your lily white, perfect white child, that may kill you, but you're spending that kind of money to send your white child to the finest private school. Wouldn't you be upset if a black child from the ghetto got to attend that same school for free? That makes the whites very angry. Like, well, that's not fair. We got to end the voucher program by saying something stupid like public money for public schools. No, public money educates children. And if the public school sucks, you can't say, oh, too bad, blackie. You got to stay over there, but we're going to take our money and go to a private school. She's not a friend anymore because I can't stand her because she's a hypocrite, who was a public educator. had a public school directly across her house from where she lived. You look out her front window and see the public school in Niscara. She had a school-age child, but she wouldn't send her kid to Niscara. She sent her kid to St. Sebastian's, a private school. But would be against the voucher program because even her as a public educator, you know, some of these teachers hate your kids a lot. They hate you too. They don't like some of you. And if they hate your kids, partially as evident by how poor black children are performing in MPS, they're performing so poorly that whenever MPS asks for more money because the kids are performing so poorly, we always give them more money, even though people don't have more money to give. But if they hate your kids, do you think that they're okay with those same kids they hate going to the school where they send their kids? It's just very practical because I don't ever want black people to underestimate how much they actually hate us. They hate us a lot, even if we don't do anything, but they'll hate us with a smile. And it's confusing to us because some of y'all actually think your white coworkers like you. No, you should hear how they talk about you to their spouse. Hi, honey, how was your day? The nigger lady. It's so bad. It's so bad, y'all. All right, I'm going to take a break. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Make your home and family safer by properly getting rid of nasty chemicals and fire hazards. MMSD's Home Hazmat program offers 3 drop-off centers that are open all year long. It's fast and easy. You don't even have to get out of your car. And it's free to visit a drop-off. Lithium-ion batteries, old gas, propane tanks, they take all of that and more. For a list of things you can and cannot bring, locations and hours, go to MMSD.com. Milwaukee County residents only. No businesses.
I'm Sherwin Hughes, and I know the power of Stars and Stripes Honor Flight firsthand. As someone who's been on an honor flight, I can tell you it's a day you'll never forget. Stars and Stripes Honor Flight gives our oldest veterans who served in any location in June of 1975 or earlier a free one-day trip to Washington, D.C. for veterans. Airfare, meals, a coach bus tour, and special flight apparel are all included. It's a day of honor, gratitude, and camaraderie. Veterans who served in the Vietnam or Korean War go to flysshf.org and ask for an application.
For 250 years, our armed forces have bravely served America. Wounded Warrior Project honors that legacy by supporting post-9/11 service members and veterans like Anthony, a Marine who was injured by a roadside bomb in Afghanistan.
They carried me through my injuries, not just my physical, but my mental. And seeing other vets doing the same thing helped me tell myself, hey, you can do this.
Join us in honoring warriors at woundedwarriorproject.org/America.
In the United States, a vehicle is stolen every 31 seconds, about as long as this message. Luckily, you can take a few easy steps to protect your car in the same amount of time. Remove your valuables, roll up your windows, don't leave your car running unattended, lock your doors, and take your keys or fob. If you have information about a crime, call the police. If you suspect insurance fraud, also call 800-TEL-NICB. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes, rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hey, Xavier, I can't have any of these women in studio. I'd lose a lot.
You asked.
I know. But I would lose a lot of credibility because people wouldn't take me seriously.
I guess I'll just stop sending them then. What'd you think of the second one?
Disgusting. Oh, she looks like, I don't like that augmented look. That's a personal preference. I don't like when
you were asking for OnlyFans girls.
They look like, Their bodies look like ants, real bulbousy, like big on the top, itty bitty waist, and real gigantic on the bottom. Like that's body dysmorphia to the highest degree. But some men actually like that. I don't understand why.
When you see her in person, it's a lot different.
I'm just anti BBL. It's just there's certain
okay.
like physical attributes that it's all personal preference. I'm not a fan of it because it's so unrealistic, and I also have seen the downsides of the BBLs when they're not maintained. Because maybe they think that, I'll get a BBL and I'll find a rich dude that'll take care of me. Yeah, sometimes they don't find somebody that can maintain that. Unless if you're making your living off of those kind of body augmentations, then yeah, whatever, more power to you. But as far as personal preference, it's way too much, and it's so extreme. Even the collagen that they put in their lips. But your lips don't look like that.
It's the all new rage with all the white women.
It ain't new. They've been doing lip filler. They've just gotten larger. They've gotten little itty bitty injections for the probably 15, probably 20 years. But now your lips have to be bulbousy, like you sucked on a hot curling iron. They look like swollen and they're all wrinkled. And
yeah, they're as big as mine now. Their lips, that is.
It's just not for me, and I'm not trying to yuck somebody else's yum because there's a lot of people that they find it attractive. But, of course, the women do that for themselves. They don't do that for a man. Or they do it to, I don't know, maybe show up other women. Either way, it's none of my business. I just don't.
Well, I guess the OnlyFans idea is out of the window.
Yeah,
I got to find some black ones, huh? Maybe that'll be more credible.
I think that they would get beat up pretty bad by other black women. I don't know how supportive black women that listen to talk radio would be of women who exhibit themselves sexually for money, because we already objectify women, but then some women that capitalize off of it financially might seem counterintuitive to women that want to be respected for who they are and their education and their intelligence. I don't know. It's all just very complicated. I tend to stay out of it.
I love it all.
I know you do, man. It just gets a little too messy. And plus women have a real particular dynamic that goes on between them that I believe men should stay out of, because we don't resolve women's issues that women have with one another. I do know this. So there's a thing called natalism, and it's just another, like a contrast that exists in this country, and there are many. So natalism would be people telling white women they need to have more children, including making abortions, in some cases illegal after 6 weeks or harder to get, or mifepristone, which is the abortion pill, making that illegal now to receive it in the mail. And that is to, I don't know if it encourages white women to have more children, because they have more abortions because there's just more white women that are getting pregnant. The percentage of black women that have abortions is higher, but the sheer number of white women that have abortions. And then people are looking at this demographic data and saying, wait a minute, you have these open borders and you have this immigration policy where the Latinos are coming over here, Hispanics are coming over here. Black birth rates have kind of leveled off. They're not really increasing, but white women are having less children. So let's take away reproductive freedoms. I promise you this, ladies and gentlemen, if Black, Asian, and Latino women were the only ones having abortions, they would be free. They'd advertise them on TV. But natalism is, hey, have more babies. And the Republican Party actually has like a platform that encourages family and big family. And they're always talking about how many kids they have. Oh, you got to have more family. So natalism is encouraging white women, even though it's just women in general. It seems to be a fixture in Republican Party politics and talking points. Oh, we got to have more children. Elon Musk said as much. Got to have more babies. We need a workforce in the future. Got to have more baby. Nobody's telling black women to have more babies. Are they? Nope. Have you noticed that? Telling white women to have more kids. Nobody is telling Latino mamas to pump out 5 more kids. So natalism is another thing that you need to watch out going on. They're encouraging white women to have more babies, but not black women. Let's talk to David. You're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
I'm doing good, Sherwin. How are you?
I'm doing well. What's on your mind?
Sure. I have the same kind of suspicion as you do of Democratic Socialists, particularly the ones that I don't really have issue with the black ones, but the other ones. And the reason why I have is really two reasons. When I attended UWM, in one of my U.S. history classes, we had Frank Zeidler come in to speak. And one of the things that he said that kind of made my eyes just kind of twitch a little bit is that he said that, and this was actually as he was leaving from his, his lecture or whatever, he said that the only thing that people held over his head is the fact that he built, the community housing or the I don't know what would we call that.
Projects?
Projects.
Yep.
Projects. He said the only thing he could never live down is the fact that he built that and it caused black people to move to Milwaukee. And he said that was the one thing that he couldn't, that white people wouldn't forgive him for. So that was the one thing that kind of, twitched my eye a little bit. And another thing too is like even in, socialist / communist areas like countries like Cuba, black people still suffer the most. I mean, they're the ones that are arrested at higher rates. They have checkpoints in black, predominant areas of Cuba where they had to check for IDs and they're arrested for, really trivial things. So, I have the same type of skepticism that you do about maybe going socialist, even though I agree that's the way we need to go. But I don't know, maybe we need to form our version of the Tea Party in the Democratic Party where we can push our issues. What do you think, sir?
We had a form of democratic socialism which was so popular and it made so much progress in the black community. The Panthers were socialists, but the Panthers started as black women that were feeding black children in the black community. And they taught martial arts classes and self-defense classes. They had a whole set of youth programs. But self-defense was also a part of it, but that's the part of the Panthers that seemed to get the most highlight. But because that form of democratic socialism was, I don't want to say it was perfected by the Panthers, but it was proving positive on a whole number of different regards, the FBI came and destroyed it. And I'm glad that you brought that up about Frank Zeidler because he was, in fact, the last democratic socialist mayor in the country, and the fact that he was as racist as he was, because he presided over the segregated Milwaukee. He presided from 1948 until 1960 when he was mayor. That is the era that solidified Milwaukee as a segregated city. And yes, he was a democratic socialist, but he also did not like black people, even though Milwaukee needed black people because of all of the factories and the manufacturing and all the breweries. They literally sent union leaders to the Jim Crow South to recruit black boys out of 10th grade to bring them up north to work in some of these factories because we needed so much labor. But when we got here, we were met by racism, particularly supported by the Democratic Socialist mayor. And like that still lives on in the minds of black people. And I don't think the Democratic Socialists have done enough work to encourage and engage black communities. And we're going to see them on full display at Midtown tomorrow because they're going to come and shout down at black elected officials because they believe that their anti-data center stance should supersede a black alderman having a conversation with his constituents about Midtown, which is in the black community. But I do appreciate your call, David. Like there's a history here that we cannot ignore because people are they're so starving to see an anecdote to Trumpism. Sometimes people will accept anything. And when the American people have their backs against the wall and they're really in trouble and things are awful, they will do some really super extreme things, including voting for Barack Obama. I don't know if people will ever be able to appreciate how incredibly extreme that was at the time. When Barack Obama entered his name into the race, I didn't believe it. Hell, I was skeptical when I first heard Barack Obama's name. I was like, where you get dude from? We don't know him. Because if you didn't come up through the traditional channels of the black church or being rooted in black community or coming from a multi-generational activist family, then we don't trust you. But when Barack Obama gave that speech at the 2004 DNC, he was a keynote speaker, which I found very unusual. Like, of all people, him? Now, he gave a great speech, but what speech did he give? There's not a red America or a blue America. It's just the United States of America. That made white people feel real comfortable. And I dismissed it. I didn't even watch it. But all the white folks that next day, because that was during the Kerry Edwards campaign. That was at the convention that nominated John Kerry to be the Democratic nominee, and Barack Obama was that keynote speaker. I didn't watch that damn speech. I was too busy working, trying to make sure that we had early voting solidified here in Milwaukee. And all the white people like, Sherwin, did you hear Barack Obama? Because we didn't even know how to say his name back then. Did you hear his speech? I was like, no, I didn't hear his speech. First of all, why are you so excited about him? I think he's going to be the next president. I brushed it off. When white people rally behind a black person or a black candidate before black people do. And listen, Barack Obama turned out to be great because I think he used his non-targeted, racial, ambiguous language to make white people feel comfortable. At the same time, the economy was in real bad shape. So he had that going for himself as well. But he laid down the foundation in his original, like, coming out to America, that he was not going to be a black person that was going to go ultra hard for black people. Even though he did in covert ways that most black people can't see. Fascinating story. Sherwin, did you see Barack Obama and his speech? I'm like, who? Russ Feingold, remember him? He used to be a senator here in Wisconsin a long time ago. Russ Feingold was running for re-election in 2004, and he did get re-elected. Russ Feingold also went on to lose to Ron Johnson twice. Ron Johnson beats everybody. So, we beat up on Mandela for losing to Ron Johnson, but Ron Johnson beat Russ Feingold twice, and Russ Feingold will likely go down in history when the long view is written as one of the best U.S. senators in the country. Like, you got to go back to Reconstruction to find a senator as good as Russ Feingold. He was the person that said, why are you guys voting for the Patriot Act? They're going to use that to spy on Americans. We're going to turn into a surveillance state if you guys vote for the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act passed 99-1. Russ Feingold was like, I ain't no fool. I'm not voting for that because of what the Patriot Act turned into be. National Defense Authorization. We spy on everything. Russ Feingold brought Barack Obama here to campaign for him when Barack Obama was also campaigning for the U.S. Senate at the same time. Ain't make no damn sense. Like, who is this dude? Because even Russ Feingold was sold on Barack Obama. I wasn't. Barack Obama came to an event for Russ Feingold at the Washington Park Band Shell, and there was a local R&B singer, a guy named Sincere. You guys remember Sincere? I don't know where Sincere is, but 20-something years ago, Sincere was very popular. It was a whole concert. Obama was the headliner at a Russ Feingold event at the Washington Park Band Shell. I'll never forget it. And everybody was like, oh, Sherwin, Barack Obama's over here. You want to take a picture with him and meet him? And I actually said no, because I don't know, dude. I kicked myself for that because I could have had a picture with Barack Obama in 2004. I'm just a skinny kid. What a funny name. When I heard that speech, I was just like, good luck to him, but he ain't going to be president. Now, look what happened. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I'm Chris Jackamick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is, my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately, in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jackamick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot fast and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
'Cause remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We gotta make moves and make them early. Set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up and stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building your retirement plan at thisispretirement.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
For 75 years, the Muscular Dystrophy Association's voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
For 75 years, we've willed the impossible into existence.
For 75 years, the MDA community has pushed the science,
shifted the narrative, and established the field of neuromuscular medicine.
And until that day when this is all a thing of the past,
you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Milwaukee's Juneteenth celebration is back, and 1017 The Truth will be there all day long. We'd like to thank our Juneteenth partners, Educators Credit Union, Molson Coors, Tayback Law, American Family Insurance, and Milwaukee College Prep for helping us celebrate freedom, heritage, education, and community. Join us on King Drive for one of Milwaukee's most cherished traditions, brought to you by our sponsors and 1017 The Truth. Yay, Juneteenth, Freedom Day. Sherwin, how come you're so racist? How come you're always talking about black and white, Sherwin? You're supposed to use your radio platform to bring us together. Why aren't you doing that? Because it's not just my responsibility, number one. Number two, why aren't you coming to Juneteenth Day? Well, I could never. You want to come together with black people. It's a fun time. There's many blacks. There's a lot of whites. 7 Asians.
Will you be out there?
I don't know. Maybe. Depends on how I feel that day. It's a lot to deal with. Parking is a lot. We'll see. I might. What time's it end? 4? Yikes.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I might stop down and say hello.
I think I'll go to the gun range, though.
Oh, yeah, you got a shoot night going on at the Eagle Sports Gun Range from 5 p.m. until midnight if you want to shoot at some targets. That's going on. Kyle Wallace is going to join us at 11 o'clock. A lot of y'all are wondering, where's Kyle? What's Kyle up to? And I haven't had to sit down with Kyle in some time since the sale of 1017 The Truth to Milwaukee Black Media. Kyle is still our guy, so I want to talk to him, see what he has going on, what his future holds. He's also very soon to get married, so we'll be chatting with Kyle Wallace in a little while. Looking forward to that. I think the theme of the show today is I want those of you that are concerned about the breakdown of the structure in the African-American community. There's so much violence, and the violence is getting worse. It's more frequent, and all the fights and all these things that are going viral. That's awful. I still want those folks who are doing all that stuff and all the fighting and all that. I want them to be included. I want them to feel attached to something, because we do need all hands on deck to address some of the disparities that do still persist. And at the same time, I want us to have a healthy skepticism. Being skeptical of something that's presented to you is actually very smart. That's how you critically think. Just because something is presented as the anecdote to Trump, as black people, we have to wonder if it's a trap. And that's legitimate because we have been coaxed into believing things before that ultimately did not pan out to our benefit. We were involved in somebody else's agenda. And I would say that feminism is one of those things. White women had the ability to be angry with and separate from the men in their lives, at the same time still being taken care of by those men. Black women thought that there was an actual like sisterhood forming, and Latina women and Asian women like, yeah, we're going to band together with white women, because those women of color thought that their white woman allies would use their whiteness to shield and protect those brown women, and they didn't. That did not happen. And you could look at every different incarnation of feminism. Black women have been totally screwed. They have. And so I just want us to be skeptical of things, because something that glitters is not necessarily gold. And it looks like socialism is becoming much more popular as this anecdote to Trump. And maybe it is. But I need to know how black people that are still marginalized, especially with losing DEI and affirmative action, because we can't expect a white person of any political affiliation to legitimately support that. So there's going to be a referendum on our ballot come November, which is going to end, eliminate, and make unconstitutional DEI. And that's going to have a ripple effect throughout the African-American community in particular. At the same time, I want the people who are in public starting fights and shooting and committing acts of violence, like I want them to be and feel included. But if programs that are sensitive to the history in this country and look at affirmative action and DEI policies as being more inclusive, then the people that we want to include are going to be even further alienated, because through some exhibitions of DEI policy, we can include more people into the fold. I really hope that makes sense, because this is so incredibly important, ladies and gentlemen. The wealth gap, the largest gap that nobody sees. Income is what you earn. Wealth is what you own. Two families can earn similar incomes, but if one family owns a home, has retirement accounts, investments, and inherited assets, they are far better positioned. In Milwaukee, white households typically possess several times more net wealth than black households. Home equity represents the largest source of wealth for most families. Decades of redlining, restrictive covenants, lending discrimination, and lower home ownership rates reduce wealth accumulation in many black neighborhoods. Do Democratic Socialists have an answer for that? 2, the home ownership gap. Home ownership remains one of the strongest predictors of wealth. Milwaukee consistently shows white home ownership rates of 75%, black home ownership rates of less than 30%. This means less equity, less inherited wealth, less neighborhood stability, less collateral for business creation. If wealth is America's scoreboard, home ownership is the biggest way most families keep that score. How are the Democratic Socialists addressing that? And I'm legitimately asking. Number 3, the income gap. Median household income among black Milwaukee households remains substantially lower than white households. Common estimates show white household incomes are roughly double that of black household incomes. This affects housing choices, school options, transportation access, and savings rates. Again, how are the Democratic Socialists addressing that? So I'm not against them. I just need some answers. And if you can't provide answers, maybe they'll tell us when they meet at Midtown tomorrow, because they're going to be there. I'm going to be there too. Maybe they're going to say, "Hi, Sherwin, we heard you. Here are all of the answers."
I'll be there too. We should do like a little vlog?
I'm going to be standing by you, because them is your people. Because I've been talking mess about them. I went real hard on them last time.
Oh, they're not going to do anything to me.
I know, because you can like wave your hand and they'll all sit down.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just not sold on them. And I'm open to the conversation.
Let's have some of them on.
They have to want to come. I'm not chasing them. And don't you chase them either, because they know what we do here. They know who we are. They know about this radio station. They know that if they have a platform that they want to share that will be more inclusive of what we are trying to do here, then they would ask. And ain't nobody asked me. And here's the thing. I'm not going chasing after them. If they want to come and talk to us and talk to black voters, that are conscious, that are aware, that are awake, that want to see improvements in some of these disparities I'm listening. They can come, but I'm not chasing them. Hi, will you guys please come and talk to us? Please? No, I don't do that now. I'm too old for that. I've been doing this too long to be go around begging. I gotta take a break though. But I'm saying we gotta have a healthy dose of skepticism until we can get our questions answered. Because if you can't answer my question, then I don't know if I'm gonna give you my vote. I mean, maybe if you twerk for it.
I'll do some reaching out.
Twerk for my vote.
Yeah.
Twerking.
I know some twerkers.
I know you do. You send me some pictures of a couple.
Yeah.
Got to take a break, Xavier. Look at the time. We just messing time up all over the place.
No, we're good to go.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Milwaukee is making real progress. 3 straight years of declining traffic deaths, but we're not stopping there. Join the City of Milwaukee's free Vision Zero Summit with AAA and AARP on June 10th. The summit will bring together community members, transportation advocates, and city leaders to advance the goal of zero traffic deaths in Milwaukee. Be part of the movement for safer streets and a safer future. Join us and learn more at
milwaukee.gov/Vision Zero. The performing arts do more than entertain. They bring the community together. From live performances and arts education to free community events, UPAF helps support the organizations that keep southeastern Wisconsin vibrant. But it only happens because of people like you. Every gift helps keep the arts accessible and inspiring for the entire community. Join thousands of supporters and give today at upaf.org. UPAF, one gift, regional impact.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. Improving lives so everyone can thrive. Where more people can gain access to health care and nutritious food for their tables. Where more community members can benefit from financial education and get connected to local resources for housing support. And where children are given more chances to reach their full potential. Community is where we find our strength and where we share our hope. United is the way. Visit unitedway.org.
Are people around me safe when I vape? Science does not support that belief. Exhaled vape emissions linger in the air, affecting indoor air quality and bystanders in the same space through secondhand exposure. Vaping emissions can also accumulate on clothes, hair, dust, and furniture, leading to exposure risks to bystanders of all ages. And vaping around a pregnant person can lead to serious health impacts on fetal and childhood development. Enough with the puff. Learn more at ul.org/vaping.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Denied VA benefits or Social Security disability, hurt on the job or in an auto accident, Tayback Law fights for people who deserve better, veterans benefits, Social Security, personal injury, and workers' compensation. We don't stop fighting until you get what you are owed, and you don't pay unless we win. Get Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com. That is TABAK attorneys.com. Got Kyle Wallace coming in a little few minutes. Gonna see what's going on with him. He does have a podcast. Truth to Power does still live on. I'm gonna ask him about that. It's a little different. It's a recorded podcast, and it airs on, I shouldn't say it airs. It's available probably everywhere else you get your podcasts, but probably not available where you get podcasts of this show. This show, you have to go to 1017thetruth.com, and you should download the Civic Media app. I know a number of you have wondered if we here at 1017 The Truth are going to go back to the old Truth app. No. Is the Truth app even still working? Just delete it. Take it off your phone because it's taking up memory, and replace it with the Civic Media app because that's more updated. Also, you'll notice our website, 1017thetruth.com, it's much nicer. It's got news on it and weather. You can listen live. Some of you may not be able to watch on YouTube, but you can push play on the 1017 The Truth website, and it'll play for you. We have certainly made some technology upgrades, and we are continuing our upgrades. Just bear with us. Be a little patient. Now, when it comes to a lack of patience, I don't really have a lot of patience for, the Democratic Socialists, and they're going to want the Black African American vote. I totally understand that. But there's a way in which you get it, and I don't believe that they have established enough credibility for us as Black voters that want to see policy as the means to an end. I don't know if they've done enough to encourage or engage us to trust them that they are going to take our policy concerns very seriously, because the things that are amiss in Milwaukee, and there are many, still need to be addressed. And we also are looking for many, many ways. In fact, we're probably getting desperate and how we can include more people into the conversation of voting and politics, because we also want this generation of 18 to 34-year-olds, we want them to be involved and engaged, but we also want their children to see them involved and engaged as well. I went, and when my parents voted, I went with them. You remember when the voting booth was a big booth with a curtain in it and a bunch of levers? It looked terrifying. It's a booth. And it was dark and scary. And scary music was playing in the background. But it became just normal. Come on, Sherwin, we're getting ready to go and vote. I mean, I wasn't voting. But it was something that I saw my parents do, and it just was my natural thing that I did when I was of age. Now, when I turned 18 in 1993, there were no elections. The first vote that I cast was in 1994 during Bill Clinton's first midterm election. That is insane how long ago that was. And all of that time, I only missed one election. That's because I was in the hospital. But both my parents was like, Sherwin, who you gonna vote for? Who you supposed to vote for? I was like, this person. Like, all right. My mom said, me and your dad got you. We'll vote for your people. I'm like, Emma, I'm hoping that my people are your people too. She's like, not necessarily. The employment gap. Even when the economy is strong, Black unemployment rates tend to remain significantly higher than white unemployment rates. Expect those rates to go up with the elimination of DEI and affirmative action. Milwaukee's Black male unemployment challenges have been studied for decades, and I just want the Democratic Socialists to provide a response or an answer or a policy solution, or at least be willing to have a conversation, because I'm not Xing them out completely, but I am seeing they're prioritizing gay and queer rights, because that has been named in Francesca Hong's campaign platform, which is fine. But what about us, though? What about us? Take a break, come back. Kyle Wallace will join us during Hour 3. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I walk on the shoulders of giants who have come before me.
I am grateful for those who changed yesterday.
But I live in today.
And I pledge I will help shape tomorrow.
Milwaukee College Prep Scholars honor Black History Month not just during February, but each and every day they walk through the door, preparing for a better life for themselves and the world around them. Enroll your scholar at MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com.
Denied VA benefits or Social Security disability? Hurt on the job or an auto accident? Tabak Law fights for people who deserve better. Veterans benefits, Social Security, personal injury, and workers' comp. They don't stop fighting until you get what you're owed. And you don't pay unless they win. Get Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com. That's TABAK attorneys.com.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The Homer Blow Foundation, Inc., nonprofit 501c3, and our presenting sponsor, Beta Philanthropies, Inc., invites you to the 32nd annual Homer Blow birthday party for the kids on Saturday, June 27th from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. for kids ages 2 to 13 years old at the Fitzsimmons Boys and Girls Club and Metcalf School, located at 3400 West North Avenue on 34th and North. Admission is absolutely free, and after 32 years, you already know how it goes down. And this year, don't miss the kids' phone party. Shout out to our platinum sponsors, the Office of Early Childhood Initiative, Mighty Small Moments, the Brewers Community Foundation, Spectrum, and West Care, Wisconsin. Our gold sponsors, Maleka Early Learning Center, Liquid, formerly the Oasis, Unite WI, Community Health Primary Care Services, LLC, the Greater Milwaukee Urban League, Eisenberg, Riley, and Zimmerman, and the New Pitts Mortuary. Our silver sponsors, Mr. B's Privilege Lounge and Dog City, along with Running Rebels and Griffin CDL Institute. Limited vendor spaces available. If you'd like to support or make a donation, email homerblowfoundation@gmail.com or call 414-248-4954.
Don't act like that. Don't wear that. Don't think that. I've heard everything you tell yourself every time you felt different. And I want you to know that you can be vulnerable and powerful. That taking care of your mind is taking care of everyone you love and who loves you. Love your mind. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Where Kyle at? I don't like that now. Is he in that meeting still? You need to walk out that meeting and be like, I got to be on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We're going to talk to Kyle Wallace if he ever get it. You on the phone with him? Xavier?
I'm calling him right now.
He ain't going to answer the phone. They have their 12Q meeting. I wish I could be in that meeting because that's where we was Good Karma Brands employees. There's like this there's a survey that we take where they ask us a bunch of questions about working for Good Karma Brands, and then you fill out the survey, and then there's a big old meeting about it. I kind of miss that because that's a way in which you can give your unfiltered opinion. Speaking of unfiltered opinions, until we wait on the dreadlock man to get here. He didn't answer the phone? Ooh, that's disrespectful. Kyle, I'll turn on you. For those of you asking if there will be a 1017 The Truth presence at Juneteenth Day, yes. Same place we've always been, prime real estate right there on MLK and Locust. We're going to be there. In fact, can I say that Benjamin has now rejoined us? Uh-oh. Was I not supposed to say that? I've been saying a bunch of stuff today I wasn't supposed to say.
I don't think you're supposed to say that.
I wasn't supposed to? Oh.
I don't think so.
Well, that's my ass, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to see him at some point.
Yeah. I thought he's more behind the scenes.
Okay. Kidding.
Yeah, kidding.
You didn't hear that. I'm just joking around. But yes, we are going to have a presence at Juneteenth Day. I'm going to be broadcasting. I'm doing my show because Juneteenth Day is Friday, right? Yes. So I'm going to do my show. I typically would be off that day, but we have a new ownership with Milwaukee Black Media. That's fair for me to at least broadcast my show. I can't tell you what the rest of the program day is going to be like. I know Homer's going to be in the Juneteenth parade with his foundation, and then Homer has a DJ assignment at a separate part of Juneteenth. So you will certainly see Homer. Bailey is going to be holding it down on the morning show while Homer is Juneteenthing. So you'll be able to listen to at least half of the hosts of the morning show. As far as the afternoon, and we'll get you that information when we have it, what the program day is going to look like for Juneteenth. But yes, we are going to have a presence there. So if you come down, make sure you say hello to the newly owned Milwaukee Black Media 1017 The Truth. I may stop down there. We'll see how the day goes. It's just quite hectic. It's easier if you're there when it's early before it gets all super duper crowded. But I'm opting not to be in that parade because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to ride in a car going 2 miles an hour. The first year, they had myself. This is before we used to have a Truth vehicle. You guys remember our Truth vehicle? It was a Ford Explorer that had the Truth logo all over. It was really nice. We don't have it anymore though. So, but the first year, 2021, that we were in Juneteenth Day, a dealership borrowed us a convertible Jeep Wranglers, and one of the salespeople from the Jeep dealership was the driver. And they put myself and Tori Lowe in that Jeep. And we had magnets on the side of the Jeep with our names, Tori Lowe and Sherwin Hughes. Well, Liz Brown joined us too. I didn't know that Liz was coming, but Liz was also in our Jeep. So Tori Lowe didn't want to ride in the Jeep because, Tori is a man of the people. Tori wanted to sit on the hood of the Jeep while we proceeded through the parade, okay? Well, the salesperson from the Jeep dealership from who we were borrowing this vehicle said, "Oh, Tori, I'm really sorry, but that's a liability, and because of insurance purposes, I can't have you sitting on the roof or on the hood, rather, of the Jeep. You have to sit inside the vehicle." You know what Tori Lowe said? Tori Lowe was like, "Then we're not going nowhere because Tori Lowe going to sit on the hood of the Jeep." And guess who also sat on the hood of the Jeep? Liz Brown. "Then I guess we're not going nowhere if Tori Lowe can't sit on the hood while you drive us in the parade." I wasn't sitting on the hood. I was sitting in the passenger seat. The salesperson ultimately relented, and we're moving through the Juneteenth parade with Tori Lowe was sitting on the driver's side on the hood, so the driver couldn't see. And guess who was sitting in front of me? Liz Brown. I looked out the window and all I saw was ass. And nobody saw me because Tori and Liz are on the hood, and I'm just over here just trying to wave, and nobody's.
Might get some complaints for that.
Might get some complaints
for saying ass.
I don't think so. I just can't say the T word.
Oh, really?
Kyle Wallace he's joined us. Hi, Kyle.
He had no problem saying the T word a month ago.
Apparently, it's not. I was talking about a fight that took place at the Brady Street Walgreens.
Ooh, I heard about that. Was his A&T out? I didn't watch the video.
A lot of it.
It wasn't us, was it?
the best of us. It was like 10 women, all scantily clad. It looks like they probably were out for the evening. And
On a Tuesday night? Or this happened Monday?
Happened on Saturday night.
A Saturday, yeah. That happens all the time. All the little festivals be a whole bunch of. I'll be on social media. I think we saw it last year. It was a whole bunch of, the B word. I ain't gonna say it. I don't want to get y'all in trouble around here.
Thank you, Kyle. We appreciate that. But it's troubling because, and I don't want my show to always talk about, oh, there was another fight and here's the video and oh, there's more violence and more shootings. I want to be a little bit more solutions oriented, Kyle. I want to find a way where we can include those folks in our political conversations. We got some elections coming up. Mm-hmm. So instead of me just showing the video, they're very entertaining, but they're sad at the same time, I want to figure out a way in which we can be more inclusive of those folks. And I just don't know how we're going to do that. Enough about that. How are you, man?
I'm good. You reached out and said you want to join. I said, sure, why not? Why not? I'm doing good. Doing real good. A little less stress.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
So since you have been I don't know, I guess relieved of your duties here at 1017 The Truth. Like, you're not done. Truth to Power still exists because a lot of people are wondering and asking. One of the many reasons why I wanted to have you on the program is tell people where they can listen to Truth to Power.
Yeah, so my Truth to Power podcast, now that I stayed with Good Karma Brand, so I still do the show 2 to 5 on ESPN Wisconsin, Kyle and Bruss. But I told them with staying, I still wanted to be able to do my podcast. So my podcast is on 620WTMJ.com, but also still streaming on Spotify. So how you listen to it before, if you listen to it on Spotify, it's still there. If you listen to it on Apple Podcasts or music, it's still there. It's still in all the same streaming places. It's just the distribution is now 620WTMJ. And so right now I'm doing it once a week. It's released on Fridays. I had a little extra episode last week to talk about the Carmelo Anthony situation and verdict. But starting when I get back, so 2 weeks when I get back, because I'm going on vacation, because I'm getting married and all that, in 2 weeks, so when I get back in about 3 weeks, I'm going to start doing it twice a week.
Can people expect the same kind of fiery and punchy and in-your-face format that they got used to with Truth to Power?
Hell yeah. Ain't nothing changed. The first, I will say this, Sherwin, the first episode was odd because you're in the studio, you don't have a phone, you don't have, I didn't play the music going in, I put the music, post-production, I added and laid it over, and it just felt different. So I said, you know what, no, we got to make this a show. So now when I do it, I play the intro music, I'm bobbing, I'm getting into it. In the last 3 episodes, I feel like 2 or 3 episodes have been really good because I made it more naturally. I started standing up to make sure I was doing the show standing up to make it as much as possible. I have video clips as well. We're doing video. We're almost done with the podcast room. So we getting to rock and rolling. The last aspect is I got to figure out when they're going to let me maybe do it live one day on YouTube. But yeah, I got to fill in on 620 WTMJ a couple weeks ago with Kristen Bry. Yeah, I'm having fun.
Cool. You're always welcome here, Kyle. I do want to go down memory lane with you in a second.
Sir.
But we got a telephone call.
Uh-oh.
And I'm always nervous. Who do we take this call now, Xavier? Well, I guess we are going to take it. Hello there.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. How you doing, Sherwin?
Oh, Al from Sherman Park. How are you doing,
Hey,
Al from Sherman Park?
Sherman Park.
Oh, hey, Al.
I just wanted to give you some history. You were talking about Zeidler earlier. I don't think Zeiler himself was a bigot. It was just his followers that were bigots in the socialist movement. And some interesting history that's going to intersect then with that on Friday is that Reuben Harpo, as my family lived as neighbors with Reuben, across the street from Zeidler. So you can always ask Reuben Harpo when you see him at the parade how Frank Zeidler was, because you could actually go across the street and talk to Zeidler, and he'd have conversations with you. He lived in the black community for a long time, for decades. And then you were talking about you didn't go 2004 and get Barack Obama's autograph.
Yes.
I did.
Oh.
I got it on the cover of the Jet magazine, which he was featured on right after the Democrat speech that he had delivered.
And then sometime after that, you decided you wanted to be a Republican.
Anyway, that's a bit of history. I just wanted to leave it with you.
That's
All right.
amazing.
Thank you for your call. So because, first of all, I don't know what kind of a quote unquote black neighborhood we had when Zeidler was mayor from 1948 to 1960. There were places in which black people were moving to, where white people were moving out of. But I don't know if Frank Zeidler, I don't know where he lived. Maybe he did live in whatever a black neighborhood was, but maybe he wasn't a bigot. And I'm glad that Al from Sherman Park brought that up, because a white person talks to and engages in conversation with a black person doesn't mean that they aren't racist. And maybe he wasn't racist, but if he is doing the bidding of his constituencies that are racist, then he's basically cut from the same cloth. Anyways, Kyle Wallace. After 5+ years of 1017 The Truth, if you take yourself back to when you first were told that such an endeavor was going to be started, there was going to be an African-American centered radio station with black hosts and producers and black themes and a black general manager. So what were your original thoughts, and did you think that The Truth would end up being what it became in a really short period of time? So let's go back to the beginning when Craig Karmazin said, "Hey, Kyle, I got an idea."
Yeah, he told me, literally. I remember, because I do a show on Sunday with Craig, and I remember he invited me to his house. Nice house. He just rebuilt it as well. But very, very nice house back then. And so, I thought I was just kicking it or whatever, and he told me about the idea that he had and all from George Floyd. And I said, listen, I'm willing to help anyway. He said, have you ever done sales before? I said, nah, Craig, I'm good. I don't do sales. I like what I do at Marquette, so I'm good. I'm moving forward. And then a couple months later, him and Steve Wexler asked me if I wanted to be the program director to, build the station. I said, hell, why not? Why not get a chance to build something special? When I didn't know what it would be, I just knew we had to find as talented people as possible. Like my thing was, how can I find people that can really move the community forward, can utilize this platform, utilize their voices well? Like that was my goal. Is I wanted people that had energy. I wanted people that can get people hyped up. Like I wanted it to be, I said it, I wanted the truth to be like Gruber Law Offices. In the sense of when you see the shirt, one call that, or you see the slogan, one call, that's all. I want people to be able to say, oh, the truth, that's that Black Talk radio station that's killing it. That was my goal. Now, I didn't know exactly how that was going to come to fruition, but y'all made it come to life.
We got everybody on board. I ain't going to bore people with how I got hired.
Yeah, sure. Why you tell people story? You
didn't want to hire.
No, Sherwin, you were the second to last one we hired.
Oh, thank you.
Ken was the last one. But the reason, Sherwin, why, because I remember we got your email. I remember, or you emailed Wex, and Wex told me, and I said, well, he's been around for a while. And Sherwin, I said it on air. I said, well, I listened to you on YouTube, and you can probably admit this. When you did your YouTube show, it was very political. You weren't as, what you do now and the way that you be on the camera and the things you talk about back in 2020, were you talking about raunchy stuff?
There was an election going on where hold on, man. We didn't want Donald Trump to get reelected. My priorities had shifted a little bit.
Within 2-3 months of being on The Truth, you was talking about a massage parlor table. I remember you told me that story about the massage parlor, how they turned over and the ending was happy.
Well, you remember that?
Yeah, because
I had to share some anecdotes. I had to make it personality radio, Kyle.
And Steve Wexler, what did he tell you? Sherwin, that was dazzling details.
Oh, yeah, I thought I was going to get fired for that. It was like, Sherwin, that massage parlor story. He was like the vice president. He was really high up in Good Karma Brands at the time. He has since retired. He's like, Sherwin, I need to talk to you. I was like, uh-oh. That story you told about the massage parlor. I was like, oh. It was fantastic. It was wonderful. You had me riveted. I didn't want to get out of the car. But then I just decided that if I was going to be a part of this endeavor, I was going to be honest and be real and be authentic. And I come to find out many years later, that is what people now come to expect. So we started in January of 2021. In fact, January 4th. 2 days later, we certainly had a lot to talk about on January 6th. But then the awards came, Kyle. Our morning show got Morning Show of the Year. Tory Lowe was starting to get all of his accolades. Did you ever think that this thing that was new and experimental, and we honestly didn't know how it was going to go, and I've been doing radio for a long time, I was even skeptical about how things were going to go. But the success in such a short period of time, what do you think you can attribute to that success?
Honestly, Sherwin, I think the biggest thing is that we were able to build a team of people that legitimately liked each other, right? Like everybody doesn't always get along, but we looked at it as, we were siloed because during the pandemic, nobody was in the office. It was basically just content folks in the office. And we had our own space. We had our chance to build a community. And we all had a similar vision of we wanted to really move this forward, right? When you got hired, everybody got hired. We didn't know what we were getting into. But once we felt like we were a family, everybody was doing their part to push the truth forward. And I think that is the biggest buy-in is y'all was at Summerfest. Y'all worked at Summerfest, like actually helped do stuff at Summerfest. We were doing stuff at Juneteenth. Like everybody was buying into this being a startup, and that's where it starts with. It starts with people buying into the fact that they really want this brand. They really want the truth to be great. If we didn't have y'all really dedicating your actual care in life to wanting this to be successful, I don't think we'd be as successful. Like this means a lot to y'all. And even now, think of the relationships that people have. Like even Danielle Hegwood has been gone for almost. She's been gone for. Has it been a year? Yeah, she's been gone. At least. Yeah. Or no, she left last fall, but she's been gone for months, and she still feels a connection. Cherie now back, but Cherie was gone for over a year, and she still felt a connection, right? And so you have all these people that Ben and Carrie, when they leave the truth, they still stay in contact and stay in touch. That's more than just being a coworker. That's somebody that's like a family. I think that's what it was. This meant something to y'all, and you understood it meant something to the community. And you guys did a hell of a job in being entertaining.
You were the program director, then the content director, and a lot of folks may not remember this, but you actually were my first producer. And then I remember you saying, we're going to hire some people. We're going to hire some new people. We're going to hire you a new producer, Sherwin. I was like, no, you ain't got to do that. I'm good with you. No, we're going to be fine. And then I met this young lady who was very bubbly, very intelligent, very idealistic. I could just tell that she possessed a lot of great qualities. That's when I met Carrie. And I wasn't sold on Carrie right away. You're like, oh, Sherwin, this is going to be your new producer. And she had never produced radio before in her entire life. And then she came with a package deal with Ben, and they ended up being probably some of the most dynamic young radio personalities I think that Milwaukee has ever seen. But let me ask you about this thing, Kyle. Truth Nation, the listeners, the supporters, the fans, how they gravitated toward us in relatively short order, and they are still here. What can you say to Truth Nation that is listening to you right now about how much they helped us become what we became?
You know, I think the biggest thing was when we talked about Truth Nation, it made it feel like it brought people in. It made them feel like they were part of it as well. And the fact that they embraced us and they showed up to events and they defended us and they really listened and they really were like, this is our station. That is the reason why we have become so successful. That's why you can have events like Beyond the Mic with Sherwin Hughes and you pack out the house. You get the mayor there. You get the Milwaukee County executive there. You get aldermen there. You get Tony Smith to show up to something outside of work.
Tony Smith don't go to
nothing. And so it is because of the fact that you have these folks and these fans that truly believe in what we are doing or what y'all continue on to do. Folks showing up at Summerfest, folks coming to our table and standing in front of Juneteenth, watching us do Juneteenth. Like, that is what Truth Nation is that there is an appetite to be able to have another platform that got to speak freely, and our audience really embraced that. And so without our audience, I don't believe that we are where we are today. And so that is the one thing that when the transition did happen, I tried to do everything I could behind the scenes. Somebody asked me to do something, I wanted to do it because at the end of the day, though I am not part of 1017 The Truth, 1017 The Truth is always part of me, but more importantly, I wanted to forever be part of the community. The success of 1017 The Truth is the single most important thing to me. Like, it really is I want it to be successful. And so I want to push and do everything I can to help continue on with the legacy because it's so important for the community to have this platform, the Black community.
Kyle Wallace, you got a little time. You want to stick around for one more?
Yeah, I can stick around for another segment.
All right. I want to ask you about memorable moments, like something that really sticks out in this unusual journey that was the start and continuation of 1017 The Truth, and maybe even a regret or two that you may have gotten along the way. Kyle Wallace is our special guest.
I got some regrets now, Sherwin.
Oh, hell, we all do. Because I said a couple of things on air in the years that I was like, I shouldn't have said that. Hell, I said something today I shouldn't have said. But, there's always a few regrets, but you learn from them. Kyle Wallace is our special in-studio guest. Going to take a break, come back, and continue chatting with him. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The performing arts do more than entertain. They bring the community together, from live performances and arts education to free community events. UPAF helps support the organizations that keep southeastern Wisconsin vibrant. But it only happens because of people like you. Every gift helps keep the arts accessible and inspiring for the entire community. Join thousands of supporters and give today at upaf.org. UPAF, one gift, regional impact.
The Homer Blow Foundation, Inc., nonprofit 501c3, and our presenting sponsor, Beta Philanthropies, Inc., invites you to the 32nd annual Homer Blow birthday party for the kids on Saturday, June 27th from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. for kids ages 2 to 13 years old at the Fitzsimmons Boys and Girls Club and Metcalf School, located at 3400 West North Avenue on 34th and North. Admission is absolutely free, and after 32 years, you already know how it goes down. And this year, don't miss the kids' phone party. Shout out to our platinum sponsors, the Office of Early Childhood Initiative, Mighty Small Moments, the Brewers Community Foundation, Spectrum, and Westcare, Wisconsin. Our gold sponsors, Maleka Early Learning Center, Liquid, formerly the Oasis, Unite WI, Community Health Primary Care Services, LLC, the Greater Milwaukee Urban League, Eisenberg, Riley, and Zimmerman, and the New Pitts Mortuary. Our silver sponsors, Mr. B's Privilege Lounge and Dog City, along with Running Rebels and Griffin CDL Institute. Limited vendor spaces available. If you'd like to support or make a donation, email homerblowfoundation@gmail.com or call 414-248-4954.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age, everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Back and excited to be back right here on Truth to Power on the award-winning 1017.
Remember that, Kyle? Remember that?
I hope y'all miss me. And shout out to those, and I appreciate those who held it down last week on Truth to Power. Shout out to Denise Thomas, the effective communication.
Oh, this is an old one.
Oh, this is when I was on vacation, probably. Homer Blow. Shout out to Dame LZ.
Oh, yeah, all those folks are gone. All right. Kyle Wiles is in studio.
Yeah, I know. And that's when I went to St. Martin.
You do quite a bit of traveling, Kyle. You're a very well-traveled black.
I dip in and dip out. I need you to be more well-traveled, Sherwin. I'm telling you, it's beautiful. With the World Cup being going on right now, had me going down memory lane when I was in Brazil. The finest women that were there were the Colombians.
I don't believe that.
Oh, they was fine as hell. I thought Brazil women were fine, but I said, wait a minute. That music video Pharrell and Snoop Dogg had, that is not what Brazil looks like. It was some big ones, some skinny ones, it was some poor ones. It was a lot. But them Colombians was bad as hell.
I really wish that I could get more into soccer. I'm not a soccer person, Kyle Wallace. I know the World Cup is a big deal. People going in crazy. They're going nuts about the World Cup. I just, go Team USA, I guess, but I'm just not a soccer person like that. But you're a sports guy. People may not know that about you, but I'd say your heart and soul and your bread and butter is you're a sports person.
Oh no, I grew up playing sport. Like my first sport love was soccer. I played soccer as a kid. I was cold at it when I was a kid, and then as every other kid got a little bit more athletic, I was still good. I made the select soccer team when I was in the 5th grade. My brother played college soccer, but then I fell in love with football as well. I played football growing up, played a little baseball, but no, I'm a big soccer fan now. Big soccer fan. Love them all.
Any regrets over the years? Any mistakes that you made? Like, damn, I shouldn't. Yeah, I shouldn't have did that.
One of the biggest regrets and mistakes I had is not understanding that a team, because the hardest thing about the station was the damn morning show, because we wanted to do a 2-person morning show, and you know me, I'm a people pleaser, but also I'm so much of a let me work within you. Just as long as you show up, you work hard, I'll be great. Telling people the hardest thing was understanding that everybody ain't got the work ethic you have and mentality you have. Because I just grew up, you're supposed to grind. Like, you're supposed to get it done. And so my difficulty was dealing with emotions. And so I would say the hardest thing is that I wish with the first morning show with Mel and Joe is that I wish I would have been harder on them and more direct with them and really letting them know this is what we can't do. Like, this is how it's going to be. Because I gave a lot of freedom. And they had a lot of talent, but I think I gave too much freedom and allow for them to work their stuff out versus working it out for them.
Sure.
And so that is probably my biggest regret, and that's why when I was so sad about Ben and Carrie, because I felt like I didn't have to worry about relationships, right? Like I didn't have to worry about people. They don't see eye to eye, but they can figure it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like DT and Telly, they were good, but everybody has their ups and their downs, and that is probably my biggest regret is right off the jump not taking more control over what exactly I wanted from a morning show. Because then when we did DT and Telly, the problem was that DT was, she lived in Texas, so it was just hard, right? Because when you're not around, you're not there, you're not even in the state. It makes it very, very difficult, and so that is what it is. But that morning show is, I just couldn't get it right. Full transparency, the original, not the original, but one of the ideas that they said, Kyle, you should do the morning show. And I said, I can't run the station and do the morning show. I do believe if I would have did the morning show from the jump and got people around, it would have been in a different position. But I always told them, I said, I can't do both, and I want to give the platform for everybody else. I can fill in whenever I need to fill in. I want to get as many black voices out there. So that was all part of the reason why I never did it.
But then after probably maybe 4 years in, 3 and some change, Truth to Power was born, because folks may not remember, our morning show was 3 hours. It was 7 until 10. I was 10 to 1. Tori Lowe has always been 1 to 4, and Dr. Ken has always been 4 to 6. We reduced the morning show by an hour, which gave us another hour of programming. For a while, Mel had an afternoon show because, her schedule was changing with some of her other professional endeavors. Then ultimately, Truth to Power was born. Did you ever envision or think you were going to have your own show?
No, and I don't hear it. Honestly, when I came back to work full time at Good Karma Brands, I had no interest in. I love doing radio, but I did a show on Sunday. I was cool. I got my little fix. And so initially they had me do the sports show, and that added a lot of stuff onto my plate. And then when they asked me to do the Truth to Power show, I was like, okay, well, I'd do it, because I knew I could create content, but it wasn't what I had envisioned. But I know I wanted to do my best at it and try to deliver. Watching y'all do it, I knew exactly what the fans really wanted, right? I knew the type of content, the type of delivery. You get to sit back for so many years and see what people like and what they don't like. It's like, all right, well, I'll take a bit of everybody and try to hit them with it. But no, I did not expect to have Truth to Power whatsoever 2 years ago at this time. Hell, it was 2024. I didn't have Truth to Power. I wasn't looking to have Truth to Power. It wasn't until 2025 that I started that.
A moment you're most proud of?
You know what? There's so many different moments that I'm proud of. But I guess when I think about it is the one, because Juneteenth is on Friday. And being able to have mashup shows where we're at Juneteenth and we have so many fans that fall in love with us. Because remember, this didn't exist in Juneteenth of 2020. This didn't exist. So fast forwarding a year or 2 years and having people buy into what we are doing, wanting to be around us and having us contribute is fantastic. Another event I was thinking about, because June is Home Ownership Month, is, dude, we had a whole home ownership summit here where people got pre-approved for loans.
Oh, we sure did.
Like that, you know how dope that is to have people legitimately be able to get pre-approved to buy a house, to set up themselves for the future, to have equity they put out. Like we provided that type of opportunity. So really, to me, thinking about the content was amazing, but the connection with the community and actually trying to be a station that gave back or did something in the community, that means I'm a community guy. So being able to actually not just sit here and talk about stuff, but do the cleanup and things like that and have all these people show up, walk against violence like that, that's dope to me. That's super dope to actually talk about stuff, but also walk the walk as well as a radio station.
Kyle Wallace is in studio, the original program director and content director of 1017 The Truth. Truth to Power does still live on. It is in a weekly podcast formation. You're going to be going to 2 times a week, Kyle? Is that correct?
Two times a week. When I get back from my honeymoon, we'll be going to 2 times a week. On Monday, the 13th of July, we'll be dropping 2 shows a week. I got Joe Brennan I'm interviewing tomorrow, and Kelda Royce I'm interviewing tomorrow as well. That will drop on Friday, and then Kelda will drop on Monday. And then I'll have one last show before I get married, and then we're gone for a week, and then we'll come back and we'll be ready to go on the 13th of July, where I'll be dropping on Monday the 13th or Tuesday the 14th, one of those 2 days, and then every Friday as well, Friday morning.
Favorite caller?
Oh, I mean, come on now, that's easy. Al gave me heart attacks.
I know.
But I didn't want to ban Al, but I was told we got to ban Al, so we had to ban Al. Al he went too far, but Al was my favorite caller. He was entertaining. He's very colorful. We all love Al. My mom literally said, Kyle, you got to unban Al. You can't ban Al. My mom was advocating for Al. I said, Mom, do you hear the stuff he says? You going to get me fired. You can't. Unban Al. Unban Al. I said, all right, Mama. He got a couple weeks left.
We had a trial. One of the most fun radio programs I've ever done. I've done a bunch of them.
Genius.
We had an actual trial where Al had a defense team, those that wanted him back on there, because he was banned. We had a defense team which consisted of Andy Positive and Miss Rose, may she rest in peace. And then he had the prosecutors. These were individuals that did not want Al to be on the radio because they thought he was too offensive and too vulgar. And that included Dion, who was Dion the non-voter at the time, and Meech. And we allowed our listeners to vote. Text 1 to 833-212-1017 if you want Al to be back on the truth. Text 2 if you want him permanently banned. And it was overwhelming. He's polarizing, but he is infinitely more popular than I think the people ever give him credit for.
He didn't look like I thought he would.
Not even close.
Al is well, I don't know what his orientation is, but he a thug. He a thug. He say he love everything.
Yes.
So shout out to him.
Very clear that he's got a taste for it all.
That's what's up.
It depends on how I'm feeling that day. Could be your mama, could be your granddaddy.
Hey, to each their own. Make life fun for you.
But when you see him, unless you hear his voice, you would have no idea that it's him. I bet a lot of you that are listening have seen Al out in the community, but if you don't hear him speak, you would never know that it was him. But we certainly appreciate Al because he gives a perspective that I think is shared by many, but his delivery is uniquely him. Kyle Wallace, man, you're always welcome here, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this. This wedding thing. Woo!
Congratulations, by the way.
I can't say the N word, can I?
I probably said you 9 times
okay,
today.
these black folks gonna run. They're gonna drive me crazy.
What are they doing? He's standing up.
No, I'm about to get up out of here. But you part of it too. Black people, y'all ask all these different questions. The whites ain't got no issues. These just driving me up a wall. I'll
take that.
You know how many calls I got?
I'll accept it.
I got so many calls, and it's all the black people with all. It's like they ain't never been to nothing before. Just have somebody tell us, oh, I don't like being around this, so I don't know if I'm going to come to the. How much was the play? I don't want to come. I'll just pay for the play because I don't know. What do you mean? We 2 weeks away? My own uncle, Sherwin, my own uncle, hit me up talking about your uncle don't get a +1. I said, you ain't married. He said, well, I've been talking to her for a week.
Not the uncle I met at the Kentucky.
Yeah. Oh no! My other cousin, he's 60. He talking about I had to dump my other woman, so I'm gonna bring somebody. My mama had to tell him, said, nah, you can't. That's not what we do. I'm telling y'all, it's y'all driving me up a wall. How many +1s? How many not knowing what time to show up? I had to send out an email to let everybody know what time to show up because I know these black folks gonna be late.
Oh, I know.
I know they is. I know they is. I'm dead. I'm about to get out of here, but I'm gonna show you the email I sent out because I couldn't because I'm nervous about these people. This is how real it is because the whites are like, why did you send this? I said because these blacks. They don't know. We don't know how to do this. We don't know how to do that.
What time's your ceremony?
I can't even. You say that on air, off air?
On air.
Oh, my ceremony. The ceremony is 3:30.
Yeah.
So tell them to show up at 2:00.
Noon. The day before.
Yeah. I you see that? That's a very
dress
thorough
code. Cocktail
Trust me, I'm a person
hour.
I do weddings every weekend. Tell them to show up at 2 or 1:30.
I'm telling. Listen.
That's a lot of instructions.
Yeah, because they don't know. At the door, my cousin played in the NFL, my cousin who played at Memphis, and my cousin that played college basketball. They all over 6'3". They at the door. At 3:30, the door is closed. Y'all ain't getting past them.
Congratulations, Kyle, and I'll see you.
Thank you.
I don't want to say the location because a whole bunch of people might show up.
No, don't say that.
Yeah, I won't do that.
We do got security though, but thank y'all. Love y'all.
You got security at your wedding?
That's what the venue got. So
all right, good to see you, Kyle. Don't be a stranger. Truth to Power lives on in the podcast world. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Make your home and family safer by properly getting rid of nasty chemicals and fire hazards. MMSD's Home Hazmat program offers 3 drop-off centers that are open all year long. It's fast and easy. You don't even have to get out of your car. And it's free to visit a drop-off. Lithium-ion batteries, old gas, propane tanks, they take all of that and more. For a list of things you can and cannot bring, locations and hours, go to MMSD.com. Milwaukee County residents only. No businesses.
I'm Sherwin Hughes, and I know the power of Stars and Stripes Honor Flight firsthand. As someone who's been on an honor flight, I can tell you it's a day you'll never forget. Stars and Stripes Honor Flight gives our oldest veterans who served in any location in June of 1975 or earlier a free one-day trip to Washington, D.C. for veterans. Airfare, meals, a coach bus tour, and special flight apparel are all included. It's a day of honor, gratitude, and camaraderie. Veterans who served in the Vietnam or Korean War go to flySSHF.org and ask for an application.
For 250 years, our armed forces have bravely served America. Wounded Warrior Project honors that legacy by supporting post-9/11 service members and veterans like Anthony, a Marine who was injured by a roadside bomb in Afghanistan.
They carried me through my injuries, not just my physical, but my mental. And seeing other vets doing the same thing helped me tell myself, hey, you can do this.
Join us in honoring warriors at woundedwarriorproject.org/America.
In the United States, a vehicle is stolen every 31 seconds, about as long as this message. Luckily, you can take a few easy steps to protect your car in the same amount of time. Remove your valuables, roll up your windows, don't leave your car running unattended, lock your doors, and take your keys or fob. If you have information about a crime, call the police. If you suspect insurance fraud, also call 800-TEL-NICB. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes, rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking.
How nice of Kyle Wallace to stop by and come back and join us little people over here at 1017 The Truth.
It was lovely. That's the guy who hired me.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
He probably did most of the hiring, I'm assuming, between him and Cherie. Oh, I should have asked him, who was his least favorite host? We used to mess with Kyle because Kyle would have ideas that, and it was like a more like a family environment around here. The professionalism kind of waxed and waned a little bit because we would talk to each other like we were family. And one thing I'll say about Carrie is if Carrie was ever displeased with something, you knew it. She would let everybody know. And there was a couple of times where I would hear Carrie talk to folks who were management and upper level bigwig, like talk to them like they was people in the street. And I was like, Carrie, you gotta, Sherwin, I don't care. They need to hear this from me. I don't even know if I want to ask you guys this question. Who did you guys like the least? We've had a bunch of people that have worked here. We had a bunch of producers. We've had a bunch of hosts. Y'all even got to know some of the salespeople. Nah, I shouldn't, because y'all are going to say mean stuff. But I'm curious who. Some of y'all are going to say me. That's fine.
I have an idea.
Talking about somebody in the afternoon. He was polarizing, but a lot of people miss him. Talking about Dr. Ken. You used to produce Dr. Ken's show for a period of time, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It was torturous.
Yeah, I know you and him didn't get along so well. He is his own man. Oh, Dr. Ken and I have gotten into it as well. It's why I didn't do his show much. I joined him. This is his fault. I'm going to make him responsible for this. So when the Market Hall first opened, because we were one of the first, major businesses to come to the 3rd Street Market Hall, there was barely any restaurants here. The only thing that was open was just the bar. There was not much going on. And so it was one heck of a tourist attraction because a lot of people that are from Milwaukee, and if you're an original Milwaukee resident, you remember when this was the Grand Avenue Mall. And when we moved in here, I used to bring all sorts of friends and family here. So I'd get off air at noon, or at that time, I think I was on till, no, it was noon. I was off at noon, and then I would come back here in the evening for happy hour, but I would bring a lot of my friends, a lot of my family to see the repurposed Grand Avenue Mall. And so I'd be here for happy hour. And I remember one particular afternoon, I had a bunch of friends that were with me, and we had a couple of drinks, right? It's happy hour. I'm off work, and we had a few cocktails, and I'm walking my friends to the area where we have these huge windows. So if you're in the market hall, you actually can look into our broadcast studio. So you can look into TMJ, you can look into ESPN, and you have this huge window right here at 1017 The Truth. And when I happened to be bringing my friends and giving them this tour from outside of the studio, Dr. Ken happened to be on the air. I had a drink in my hand, and I had a few at the time. Now, this was, the early days, 2022, I think we moved in here, the fall of 2022. And I, you know what I mean? I'd had a couple of cocktails, and Dr. Ken kept waving me in. Like, come on, come and join me. I was like, well, yeah, I guess I'll stop in for a second to say hello. That's when I found out that you're not allowed to drink on the air. So I was in here doing Dr. Ken's show after tying a couple on during happy hour, and I got a reprimand for that. It wasn't my fault. Dr. Ken is the one that invited me in. I think I may have done his show one other time. We did do Truth to Politics, which you guys know did not work out for me because Dr. Ken's political stances oftentimes would not correspond. They would more like collide with mine, so I just found that a little bit too difficult. I filled in for Tory one time. Tory was in Madison involving himself in some he was there for a committee meeting, and I had to fill in for Tory because at that time my show went from 10 until 1, and Tory was not going to be in studio until 2 because the committee hearing that he attended in Madison wasn't done until like 12:30 or 1 o'clock. That was tough because Tory's audience, while most of them were very nice, there was not a lot of overlap. Because you got to remember, there was no show that broke up from when my show went off to when Tory started. Because back then it was morning show, my show, Tory, Dr. Ken. Truth to Power, and even before that, Melanie Ricks's 1 hour show would kind of like break up, like he was like an intermediary between my show and then Tory Lowe. But back then it was me and then Tory followed right after me. And I did an hour of Tory's show. And I come to find out that day that I did that, his listeners were very, very, very different than mine. Because I didn't even really know like how to address their issues and what they wanted to talk about, especially back then when Tory's activism was much more pure. Tory became political. Tory didn't start doing that Trump stuff until recently. That was a change that nobody saw coming, but he was the activist. Because we're also still not too far away from the whole George Floyd and the whole COVID thing. And so Tory's activism was way more motivated and predominant back then than it ultimately ended up being when he, decided to be much more political in his leanings and in his delivery. But it was a rough one. But it is what it is. Take a break, come back. Join us tomorrow if you can at Midtown. I'm sure I'll be talking about it more tomorrow as there's going to be another town hall meeting, an informational meeting for members of the community, especially those who live in the 2nd Aldermanic District. If you want to have some input and get some more information about what is going into the Midtown development, I know it's been very controversial. In fact, I think I'm going to have Mark Chambers and the owner of because somebody bought the Midtown Walmart. I think he's going to be in studio with me tomorrow. I got to confirm that, but I'll let you guys know if you stay tuned into the Hughes Views 414 Facebook group. I will post in there when I have the confirmations that we're going to have the people that are involved in the development in Midtown in studio tomorrow. I'm about 85% certain that we're going to have them here for a conversation that will be uninterrupted by the quote-unquote anti-data center crowd that we know are going to gather in very large numbers at 5:30 tomorrow at the Midtown Walmart. So if you're able to attend, we would love to see you there. I'm certainly going to be there. Xavier is going to be there. And we're hopefully going to get some good information, or we're going to be shouted down by a bunch of Democratic socialists. I suppose we will see, but that's going to be tomorrow at 5:30. Right now, The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Milwaukee is making real progress. 3 straight years of declining traffic deaths, but we're not stopping there. Join the City of Milwaukee's free Vision Zero Summit with AAA and AARP on June 10th. The summit will bring together community members, transportation advocates, and city leaders to advance the goal of zero traffic deaths in Milwaukee. Be part of the movement for safer streets and a safer future. Join us and learn more at
milwaukee.gov/Vision Zero.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
The performing arts do more than entertain. They bring the community together, from live performances and arts education to free community events. UPAF helps support the organizations that keep southeastern Wisconsin vibrant. But it only happens because of people like you. Every gift helps keep the arts accessible and inspiring for the entire community. Join thousands of supporters and give today at upaf.org. UPAF, one gift, regional impact.
At UW-Milwaukee, students don't have to wait until college to start building their future. Roar Ready lets students K through 12th grade join in hands-on programs across campus. From science and tech to arts, sports, and more, students try new things, meet new people, and build skills that matter. Programs are led by UW-Milwaukee faculty, staff, and current students. And it's easy to register online. Get started today at uwm.edu/roarready. UW-Milwaukee. Roar Ready. Your child's future starts here.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age, everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Music today has been brought to you by Blue Mist, my jazz album. I'm expecting to win a Grammy for this. I don't know why I wouldn't. What did we learn today? We want to be more engaging on people who seem to feel disconnected from the positive outcomes that I think that we want to see for the city of Milwaukee. And if we have another video of a fight at a Walgreens or a CVS and it gets put on the internet and it goes viral, I see that oddly enough as an opportunity and evidence of people that feel so incredibly detached that their behavior is one that does not respect the public because they don't care. They have no boundaries. And we need those people to join us in the fight. And if democratic socialism is going to be at least a temporary answer to Trumpism, what plan does democratic socialism have for people who are very much detached from the system? And we know their stances on economic policy and taxing the rich and everything else, but if they are not looking at these policies with a scalpel, because African Americans can be impacted even by positive policy changes that look at something like the economy. And in fact, let's check our poll because I asked you all, what your top issues and what your top priorities are. And not shocking, 40% of you say the cost of living, 23% of you say healthcare, only 15% say crime. But the way we talk about crime being so prevalent every single day, especially in the summer, you would think that it would rank very higher. And the cost of living being the highest rated category as far as most pressing issue to people, at least that participate in this show, it makes sense where the economic message of the Democratic Socialists is resonating with a lot of people. It also might explain why Francesca Hong is doing as well as she is. I'm skeptical, as I should be, because we've had all sorts of different political themes come and go, and different candidates come and go, each promising something unique, and ultimately their delivery is lackluster. And I'm not saying that Francesca Hong isn't the way. I just need to see more from her and her campaign and her platform that addresses the issues that we have been fighting to improve in Milwaukee for a very long time. Now, she came out with her campaign platform, and I discussed it last night on my Hughes Views YouTube podcast, because she did name many of the issues that she is going to be fighting for and what her policy stances are on these issues. So she says she supports a moratorium on data centers, as you will see evident with the Democratic Socialists coming to Midtown tomorrow at 5:30. She wants to fund public schools and cut property taxes by taxing the rich. Now, that is a typical Democratic Socialist stance. They really hate rich people just because they're rich. Fair enough. I can't tell you who you should and shouldn't hate. Then her campaign platform, and this is the leading candidate in the race for governor here in Wisconsin. She says also on her campaign platform, she wants to protect labor and civil rights in the age of AI. Not labor rights and civil rights separately, but in the age of AI. So this is a workers' rights kind of platform item. Okay, well, fine. And I'm still going to continue reading on her platform. She wants to take on monopolies, private equity, and corporate abuse. Cool. I'm not going to argue with that. Then the next campaign platform item is protects without compromise queer Wisconsinites. Okay. Protect the queers. Have no fears, queers. Francesca's going to protect you. I'm not even mad at that. Let's continue going down her list of priorities. Safeguard our elections, voting, and democracy. Okay, we need that. And then save and reopen rural hospitals. Nothing about black people. Nothing about racial disparities. Nothing about the constitutional amendment to eliminate DEI permanently in Wisconsin. Nothing about trying to help institute and reinstitute things that can help black Wisconsinites and black Milwaukeeans in the age of Donald Trump. Nothing about that. Which, okay, cool. But because she mentioned the queers, I didn't even know that I could say queer till she said it. She said it. I'm going to say it a lot. I'm going to make stuff rhyme with the word queer.
You think you're saying a dirty word, huh?
No, I mean, not anymore. Because if she said queer, because we used to say LGBTQIA+, that's too much. Just call them queer. But I'm going to start like using it more often. You guys remember an 80s pop group called Tears for Fears? Now it's Tears for Queers. I'm just saying that's because it's not a naughty word. And I don't want the queers, whomever they are, to be against me. It's just when I see them mentioned as a policy priority by the leading candidate for governor in Wisconsin, totally cool. But black people, last time I checked, are still the most loyal and faithful constituency of the Democratic Party, and Francesca is going to need African-American voters if she hopes to be governor of the state of Wisconsin. But I don't know how you can convince African-American voters when nothing that we find important is mentioned in her campaign platform, and it looks like she is prioritizing other interests over us. So I suppose we'll see.
Let's have her on.
I already had her on.
Again.
Nah, that's too much. She's going to have to start paying for some ads now. That's the other thing. She ain't going to spend no money here. And if she really wanted to prioritize uplifting and maintaining black media, because her campaign has raised a ton of money, I bet she don't spend a penny here on 101.7 The Truth. But that remains to be seen. And on that note, thank you guys for listening. The lunch break is up next.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these